All right. Looks like we are back up in here. We are back up in here. I need to clean off my desk, like for real. We are back up in here. My apologies for skedaddling on y'all like that. My apologies for that. Y'all, I didn't have that fan on. I'll let you guys come back in. Hello, hello. Thank you, Sister Chrissy. I love me some you. I didn't have that fan on. And I know I've had people ask me before that, like whenever you're doing it, why don't you just get up on camera? Because a lot of times I have on shorts. A lot of times I have on shorts and what have you, house shorts, shorts that you don't wear outside, shorts I wouldn't wear outside. And so that's the reason why I would go out of here and come back in or what have you. But we're going to go ahead and get ready to get into this lesson. Thank you guys for coming back in. I believe that today's lesson is going to be powerful. I believe that it's needed. I believe that it's necessary. I had to get up, y'all. I'm sorry. I had to get up and go cut on that fan because bad things happen to me when I'm hot. For one, my allergies tend to act up. For two, sometimes I can just get too uncomfortable to the point where I'll start feeling cramps and stuff like that. So I was just like, yeah, let me get up. Let me cut that fan on so we can have a good message without me being distracted by the heat. I don't know why lately I kind of been feeling like it's getting cooler outside, but for whatever reason, it just feels like it's been warmer to me. And I know I'm not going through menopause. I know I probably got another 10, 15 years for that. I think, anywho, I think, I know that's not the case, but I've been feeling warm a lot lately. It just weird to me because it seems to be cooler outside. I was mentioning on the last one, for those of you who didn't get a chance to see, forgive the red eyes. I went got my lashes done earlier today. I am going to be looking into an alternative because I don't like the fact that I know once I get my lashes done that my eyes are going to be red behind it. I've tried a lot of different things, including making sure I have some allergy drops, some Visine allergy drops or what have you. But I'm coming to realize that I'm going to have to look at something, I'm going to have to look at an alternative. I'm going to have to look at an alternative because I don't like having red eyes for 2 to 3 days. But that's that. Welcome back. We're going to be talking about Promiscuity Day, promiscuity culture, and what it's doing to our society. I want to help you to understand what promiscuity is. I want you to sit back and I want you to be able to look at your life and ask yourself, am I promiscuous? I've shared this before. When I was in the world, there was a time where you couldn't have told me that I was promiscuous. I did everything in my power to make sure that I never wore that label. And Satan did the same thing to me that he does to the world today. And that is I've tried strips. And strips, I don't like strips too much. I like the individuals because they look more natural or what have you. I just don't like that glue. And we talked about hyperallergenic glue or what have you. And my last check, she was telling me that the lashes won't last that long if we use that or what have you. So I've been thinking about trying it at least. I've been thinking about trying it at least or what have you. So I'm going to talk to her about it to see what we can do. All right, everybody's back in. Do me a favor. Be sure to like and share Facebook. Let me know that you're in the room. Hit the love button, hit the like button, hit the share button. If you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button. I believe that this is going to be a good lesson. I believe that this is going to be a necessary lesson. I believe that many of you are going to get a measure of deliverance. And when I say deliverance, I'm not necessarily talking about come up and out, but I do believe something's going to come out because God said, above all thy getting, get understanding. I believe that God is going to give you the revelation that you need, the clarity that you need, so that you can walk out of promiscuity. I know that you may be looking at this now and you're looking at like, I'm not promiscuous. And as I mentioned before, there was a space and time when I was in the world. There was a space and time when I was in the world where I would tell myself that I'm not promiscuous or what have you. And as it turned out, I was. So just to kind of jump into that, I've shared this story before, but I'll share it just because people are still coming in. When I was in the world, I used to go through this little thing where I was trying to, they have language nowadays. I was trying to make sure I didn't have a high body count because I knew that I wanted to be married someday. And I also knew that I met the guy. Men typically want to talk about your history. And I didn't want to have that conversation with a guy and for me to have an extensive history. So I try my best to control that. And y'all know, if you haven't heard my story, go get my book, Devil Bait, High Heels and Spiritual Warfare. It talks about promiscuity. It's a powerful book. And I talk about what I tried. One of the things I tried to keep me from falling into that trap was asking a guy, would he be my Splacavelli? Asking a guy if he would be my, I proposed to him, would you be my Splacavelli? And he looked at me with bewilderment on his face, and he's like, what? And I went on to explain to him that I would get in relationships and I would be dating guys, and the relationship would not work. We would be dating and what have you, and it would be, serious relationships, because there are different types of promiscuity, right? But they're all bad. When I was in the world, mine was under the context of a relationship. So it wasn't one of those things where I was jumping from this dude to that dude to that dude. It wasn't one of those things where, had I gotten pregnant, I wouldn't have known who the father was. I prided myself in, saying things like, shoot, if I get pregnant, I know who the dad is for my kid. If something happened to me, I know who the daddy is. I prided myself in that. And because of that, the enemy had deceived me. This is what he does to the world to this day. There's nothing new under the sun. The enemy had deceived me into believing that, that I was doing well, because here it is. I'm in a relationship with this guy, and that's quite natural when you're in a relationship, that, you involve yourself physically at some point. And whenever I tried to do the whole Splacavelli thing, it was when that song Splacavelli came out. Please don't nobody go listen to it. But it was when that song came out, and I looked at the guy, and I met this guy, looked at this man, and thought to myself, this is not a faithful man. He's incredibly handsome. I'm talking about remarkably handsome, like ripped out of the pages of a magazine. Should not be living anywhere near the country type handsome. He should be in Hollywood somewhere on somebody's screen. That's how I was thinking in that car. And I was thinking to myself, this ain't the faithful type of man. You don't give your heart to somebody like this. These are the conversations that I was having with myself, right? You don't give your heart to somebody like this. But he looked like the type of guy that, he is incredibly romantic. I'm not talking about the standard, put some music on and light some candles, but I'm talking about straight up freak. You can just see that on him. You can see that he was the type of guy that the stuff that you saw on television. And I hadn't been outside. I was living in Mississippi, what have you. He looked like what I saw on television. I was right. He was one of those type of guys. But at the same time, I made a deal with the devil. That's what that was. I made a deal. And I'm not talking about him being the devil. I'm talking about when the conversation, everything you do is spiritual. I made a deal with the devil at that time. I was like, hey, let's just, I want to sleep with you between relationships. I want to be able to come to you whenever I'm not dating anybody. That way I'm not tempted to call the next. And that way I don't go out there and rush into anything because I'm feeling that. So that was the deal that I sat back and I made. And I said, also, when I'm in relationships where things are not that serious, like if I'm dating somebody, realistically speaking, we can say this. Even to this day, humans, people, some of you date people that you're not going to marry. You do it. You'll date somebody and they're fun to hang around. They're fun to talk to. They're fun. You may even get yourself, prayerfully not now, but at some point in your life, you will probably get yourself sexually entangled with that person. But in the back of your mind, without a shadow of doubt that you would not marry that person, that you don't want anything serious with that person. We know that men do it, but women do it as well. Surprise, surprise. But that was one of the things I was telling him. I was like, once, like if I'm dating somebody and I really don't see any future for that relationship, meaning I don't see anything big coming from that, I wanted to be able to go and see him. And so that was that. That was a form of promiscuity. In my head, I thought I was doing a good thing. In my head, I thought I was keeping my body count low, and that, my husband, whenever I got married, was going to thank me for it, because I wouldn't be out here like a lot of the women that I knew, out here just busting it open for everybody. Well, long story short, I end up getting saved, right? I end up going to church. And this isn't what it's about. I'm just saying this until lets everybody come in, giving you the opportunity to do me a favor of liking and sharing this message. But I was thinking to myself, that's how I thought to myself. So anyhow, I ended up going to church, and I got saved. And here it was, I was a babe in Christ, still going between the church and the club. And I would hang on to every word that my pastor was preaching, because I really wanted God. Still to this day, I want God. I really wanted God. I wanted God to be pleased with my life. I wanted God to look at me and say, well done, good and faithful servant. And I remember when my pastor set up there, he said, if you are not married, he gave the definition of what it meant to be a hoe. So he helped us understand that, today's culture, or the culture of that time, had redefined the word hoe and what have you. And he said, you're a hoe. If you having sex, you ain't married, you're a hoe. He said, based on biblical definition, he went through it all and, talked about biblical definition. And then he said, so if you're having sex, you're not married, you're a hoe. And it was at that moment that I realized that I was a hoe. It was at that moment. I literally probably looked like this during service because I didn't want that label. That to me was the lowest label that you could ever wear. I didn't want that label. Now, why am I talking about this? Because right now, today, the enemy still convinces many people in the world and in the church that, this is what promiscuity is. That's what promiscuity is. Like, we have a tendency to redefine things in our attempts to justify continuing in them. I believe that after today's message, you won't be able to continue what have you in that. And if you continue in it, you know that you're doing it from a place of rebellion. You're not doing it. You're no longer doing it from a place of ignorance. And please don't think you can run from this message and then you're going to be not innocent or not guilty because I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it. So we're going to start off with the word promiscuous, the definition of the word promiscuous. And this comes from Oxford Languages. And number one definition is characterized by many transient sexual relationships. Characterized by many transient sexual relationships. The word transient means lasting for a short time. Lasting for a short time. And I know somebody may on here won't say, well, Sister Tiffany, that's where you're wrong. When I was sleeping with Troy, we were together for 7 years. That is a short time. I was with Tyrone for 15 plus years. That is a short time. That is a short time. Realistically speaking, whenever you give your body to somebody, it's supposed to be under the context of marriage, and it's supposed to be for a lifetime, or until at least one of y'all kick the bucket. So it's characterized by many transient sexual relationships. Number two, sexually indiscriminate. Sexually indiscriminate. And we'll talk about that. Number three, demonstrating or implying an undiscriminating or unselective approach, indiscriminate or casual. Again, these come from Oxford Dictionary or Oxford Languages. Now, unselective, indiscriminate, when we hear these words, your brain is going to do this. Your mind is going to do this. If you don't want to believe that you're promiscuous, you're going to still try to chop your way out of it. And I want you to pay attention to how your heart moves. You're going to try to chop your way out of it. Well, I'm not indiscriminate, Sister Tiffany. I'm very selective. I'm very selective. If you're very selective, let me ask you a question. Are you married? Are you still with the person right now? And is that the only person you've ever been with? If not, you're indiscriminate. See, this is what we have a tendency to do. We have a tendency as people, and I tell people this all the time. This is why God says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added to you. God also tells us that perfect love casts out fear. Perfect love means mature love. And so God desires for us to mature, just like we want our children to mature. You're not going to take your 8-year-old child and sit back and try to get her married to somebody because she's young, she's underdeveloped, her mind is not fully developed, her body's not fully developed. That is a kid. She doesn't know that much. That is a kid. And so I want you to understand, spiritually speaking, when you're a babe in Christ, that's how God sees you. You are like a little toddler running around here, and because you don't know who you are, you don't know the word, you don't know who God is. And when I say you don't know who God is, I'm not saying that you don't know he exists. I'm not saying that you don't have a relationship with him. I'm saying that you haven't gotten to the place of intimacy with him yet, to the point where you can say, I know him, I know his heart. Not only do I know his heart, I have his heart. God sees you as a kid. You are a kid out here making adult decisions. You're a kid out here making adult decisions. And I want you to think about a kid. What does a kid do? Kids fall a lot. Kids cry a lot. Kids fight a lot. And this is why your relationships look like that. Your relationships look like a lot of fighting, a lot of crying, a lot of mistakes being made, right? So when you start talking about the concept of being indiscriminate, it typically deals with this. If I go date somebody I'm going to date according to where I am. Same as you. Same is true for you. If you date somebody, you're going to date in accordance with where you are. But what if I told you that where you are is not where you're going to stay? That's if you don't, that's if you continue to chase God. Now, what if I also told you that wherever you select a partner at is where that's the place that you have selected to stay? Wherever you select a partner at is a place. And when I say you selected to stay, I'm not saying that you are localized or you're stuck. I'm saying you're looking at the height in which your partner decides to go, and y'all are looking at each other, and basically you're limiting yourself to the person that you're with. I'm trying to find a way to describe this. You're limiting yourself to not just their potential, but their understanding. So if I get with a guy and he doesn't have this like, okay, a large number of people in the body of Christ, and I say large number, I would say majority, don't pray that often. They're not that consistent in prayer. They can be 1,000 shades of wrong. You can say, hey, go pray about it. And they'll say, well, I need to pray about it. Rather than sitting back saying, right, you know what, I am going to go pray about it. They'll argue you down. I can't tell you how many times I've told people who were 1,000% wrong. And I'm like, it's in your Bible, right? And I sit back and say something to them. And I'll say, go read your Bible. I don't need to read the Bible. I'm like, well, just pray about it. Why would I need to pray about it? Or what have you? So, you said, okay. But what the enemy does is the enemy will try to convince you that you are in an okay place. I don't remember the point that I was trying to make, but anyhow, we'll just kind of move on from there. Characterized by many transient relationships, sexually indiscriminate. Okay, indiscriminate. That's the word, indiscriminate. What it does, you will try to date, or you will date in accordance with where you are. You will date in accordance with where you are. You'll find somebody, for example, let's say that you struggle with the spirit of rejection, right? Um, let's say you struggle with the spirit of rejection. You're gonna 9 times out of 10 be attracted to somebody else who struggles with the spirit of rejection, either somebody who has a bigger and broader spirit of rejection, or somebody whose spirit of rejection isn't as big as yours. Now, let me show you how you can determine what spirit you're dealing with besides the spirit of rejection, or what the strong man is. You can tell by what you date or how you date. If you have the spirit of rejection and you go for somebody whose spirit of rejection is bigger than yours, it is greater than yours, 9 times out of 10, you got a controlling spirit. 9 times out of 10, you wrestle with the spirit of control. And so you'll go get somebody who's dealing majorly with rejection, somebody that you can correct, somebody that you can cut up or what have you, because you know that they deal a lot with rejection. You can use their rejection against them. I'm just trying to show you how this works spiritually. If you get somebody whose spirit of rejection is smaller than your own, then you're looking to be controlled. Somebody who if somebody who is not as bound by the spirit of rejection as you are, then you're looking for somebody to. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see if I'm making sure I'm saying this right. If you're looking for somebody who has a bigger spirit of rejection than you, their spirit of rejection is a little bit more crazy than yours or what have you, then you're looking to be controlled. That's what I meant to say. You're looking to be controlled by that person. And then many times you're looking to control them by using the spirit of rejection. So typically somebody with a Jezebel spirit is going to have a bigger spirit of rejection. So you may be an Ahab. You may be an Ahab. So you're looking for that person to control you, to dominate you. But if you go for somebody who has a lighter spirit of rejection, then you may have the spirit of Jezebel. You may be looking to control that person. So typically when you see the spirit of rejection, you're going to see other unclean spirits, right? You're going to see other unclean spirits. I was talking about how whenever you get with somebody, a lot of times you're going to date in accordance with where you are. And so, for example, if you go get yourself a dude, you're literally saying, I really don't care to go too far outside of this realm. I want to travel with him. I want to grow with him, but I don't plan to go too far outside of this realm. So basically, in that, God sees, like, let's say, for example, God called you to do great and wonderful things, right? God sees you localizing yourself. And in so many ways, what you're saying to God is no. By who you choose, you're saying to God no. Who you choose for a partner, who you choose for a life partner, in many cases, what you're saying to God is, nope, I don't want the assignment. I don't care to know about what I'm assigned to do. because I'm going to localize myself to this guy. This guy doesn't want to do much of anything. We start talking about church. He just wants to go to a small little church. He happens to be very religious in the way that he sees the world. He doesn't believe that a woman's supposed to wear pants. Um, all of that kind of stuff. You're localizing yourself to that person. Don't remember why I was telling that point. CTH72, thank you. God bless you. Don't remember why I'm telling that point. So we're going to move on and then we'll make our way back around whatever God deals in that area. But to be promiscuous, let's talk about what that means. To be promiscuous, it means number one, to be sexually immoral. To be sexually immoral. Number two, to present your body to someone who is not your spouse. To present your body to someone who is not your spouse. Number three, to lean to your own understanding morally. To lean to your own understanding morally. This is typically whenever you start saying things like, God knows my heart, I'm not a bad person, and all that stuff. So you basically sit back and you try to make sense of the lifestyle that you chose. I give this story. This has happened a couple of times where I've had people to reach out to me and they say, hey, Tiffany, I'm not involved in any sex with my boyfriend. However, we have tried anal. We are doing anal, but vaginally, I'm still a virgin. And I'm like, you're not a virgin. You're having sex. You have a warped definition of sex. I've had people to tell me that they pretty much, and y'all excuse my language, they whack their dudes off. And they sit back and they're like, but we haven't had sex, but I'm whacking them off. And I try to get them to understand there is no angel standing inside of your vagina that's holding a trapper keeper, that's writing a note down saying September 14th, still no penis is entered. I felt the vibrations and everything that would indicate that there was an arousal. I felt, the contractions and everything that would indicate that something was happening. But I stood watch and no penis entered the vagina. That's not how that works. Sex, you got to understand, sex is anytime you try to, you give your body to another person for the sake of creating a soul tie with that person, and for the sake of pleasing that person sexually. So it doesn't matter whether or not you're having sex with yourself, if you're having sex with, if you're having normal sex, it doesn't matter if you're doing anal or oral, it's all still sex. But to be promiscuous means to be sexually immoral, to present your body to someone who is not your spouse, and to lean to your own understanding. The mindset of promiscuity. We're going to talk about the mindset of promiscuity. And again, today, guys, my objective is to help you to get free from it, If you struggle with promiscuity, if you say, Tiffany, I do have a boyfriend and we have been sexually inactive, the objective isn't to just get you to stop. Because if I told you stop doing it because you're outside the will of God, I wouldn't be in error for telling you that. But it's more so that you can get understanding. God said, above all that, get understanding. With understanding, nobody has to tell you to stop, because you'll feel enough conviction. You'll have enough revelation. You'll have enough information to stop. You'll have what you need to help you to stop. But whenever you are ignorant, whether that's willfully or unwillfully, whenever you are ignorant to it, you don't have enough information. You don't have enough to get you to stop. And so consequently, whenever you stop, it's typically going to be from religious. It's going to be from a religious standpoint, meaning you're doing it for fear. But God says perfect love casts out fear. The word perfect here means mature. Mature love casts out fear. God wants you to have understanding. God wants you to have knowledge. That is knowledge of the word of God. But he also wants you to understand. He wants you to understand why he says not to do certain things. He wants you to understand his heart for you. He wants you to understand his heart for his people, because he understands that if you know that, then you're less likely to fall into the trap, because you understand what can happen if you do. You understand what it is that God is trying to build in you, and you're not willing to risk that. You're not willing to destroy that. So let's talk about the mindset of poverty. I'm going to tell you 7 things that the mindset of poverty says. We're not going to be on here very long tonight, I don't think, because I'm going through the notes pretty fast. But the mindset, 7 things that the mindset of promiscuity, not poverty, 7 things that the mindset of promiscuity says. And I'm trying to help you to understand, if these are the echoes of your heart, you want to address what's in your heart. You want to get that stuff cast down or cast out. Number 1, I have needs. Sister Tiffany, I hear what you're saying, but I have needs. I get aroused at times, and I have my needs. I think all of us have heard somebody say that. And most of the time, women, we've heard men say that, especially if you turn around and tell a man that you're abstinent, and he opens his mouth and say, "Well, I have needs." Now, me personally, I don't think I've ever heard a guy say that to me. Um, for whatever reason, I think whenever I'm talking to a guy, they're a little bit more careful with me. But I've heard it said plenty of time. I've seen men say it on camera. I've heard plenty of women tell me that a guy, broke it off with them, or a guy told them he don't know if he can do the abstinence thing because quote unquote he would say, "I have needs." Yeah, I've heard women say it. I've definitely heard women say it. "I have needs." That is the mindset of promiscuity. One of the things I want to get you guys to understand, that promiscuity is not cast out by marriage. So somebody who's promiscuous, in other words, a person that's willing to have sex with you outside of marriage, believe it or not, they lack faithfulness. Believe it or not, they lack faithfulness. You say, what does that mean? They lack faith. And because they lack faith, they're not going to be consistent. Those type of people can marry you. They can have kids with you. They can be with you 20, 25 years and be faithful to you by your definition of faithfulness. But because they're inconsistent and they're unfaithful to God, at some point, they're going to go be unfaithful to you by your definition in the majority of cases. They're going to go out and do it to you. Whatever people do to God, they're going to essentially do to you, or eventually do to you. Whatever people do to God, they're going to do to you. So you always got to look for how a person, see, we have a tendency to look at how that person treated their ex, how they treated their mother. Now, there is no error in that, but you also want to pay attention to how a person treats God. How do they treat themselves, and how do they treat God? Number two, the mindset of promiscuity says marriage ain't nothing but a sheet of paper. Marriage ain't nothing but a sheet of paper. It undermines marriage. It does not respect marriage. It demeans and devalues marriage and reduces marriage to being nothing but a piece of paper. And that's because that person is struggling with lust. They don't want to go through the red tape, nor do they want to have the responsibilities that come with marriage. They want to get to the body and the body only. So they would typically say marriage is but a sheet of paper. Number three, people get divorced every day. If you talk to them and you say, "Hey, listen, I don't believe in having sex outside of marriage," or what have you, they'll say something along the lines of, people out here getting married and stuff like that. It's not like their marriage is working. Us not having sex is not going to make us having sex is not going to make a difference, because there are people out there that got married and they never had sex, and they got married and turned around, had sex with each other, and they still getting divorced. They're always trying to make an excuse to get you in the bed. And let me just say this before I move on. Whenever you come in contact with a sexually immoral person, your best bet is to cut ties with them. Don't date them. Your best bet is to cut ties with them, because believe it or not, they're not going to be faithful to you. That's an issue that they have. Is an issue of being inconsistent. It's also an issue of dishonor. They have no honor for God, and because they have no honor for God, they have no respect for themselves. Number four, and this is the mindset of promiscuity. This is what it says: I can't marry someone I haven't at least tested. Let me know if you heard it in the comments. If I say something and you've heard it, or any of these things, just hit put the hand up button if you heard it before. I can't marry someone I haven't at least tested. That's if you sit back and you tell the person that you are abstinent and you don't believe in having sex before marriage. And a lot of times when you're dealing with somebody like that, they'll try to pretend that they can hang. They'll try to pretend like they can. They be like, "Yeah, I can respect that. I can respect that." Oh, you can respect that? You're not already walking it out yourself, seeing it is that you identify as a Christian. I mean, I can respect it. I'm not going to say if that's for me, but I can respect that. I can respect that. Now, that person there is not going to respect that. They're just saying that because it's the beginning, and in their mind, 9 times out of 10, they've heard it before. They've heard it before. And the woman that said it to them, or the man that said it to them, came out their clothes. So when they're saying that, they're basically saying, "I'll play your game with you. I'm just keeping it real with you. I'll play your game with them. I will play your game with you." But realistically speaking, they're not going to wait. I can't marry someone I haven't at least tested. I can't marry someone I haven't at least tested. Number 5, God knows my heart. Christian's national anthem. That is the sinner, not Christian, but the sinner's national anthem. The sinner who identifies themselves as a Christian, Just like you got men out here who identify themselves as women, you got people out here who identify as Christians, but they're not. They're not. But they typically will sing this song, God knows my heart. I'm not a bad person. God knows that I got nothing but good thoughts in my head or what have you. God knows once I'm married, I'm going to be faithful to my spouse. How are you going to be faithful to your spouse when you're not even faithful to God? How are you going to be faithful to your spouse when you haven't gotten to the place gotten to this place in revelation where you come to genuinely love yourself? Do you know when you start loving yourself, you won't tolerate the wrong people? Do you know when you start loving yourself, you won't tolerate somebody that's trying to get in your drawers? When you start loving yourself, your love for yourself is a product of your love for God. Miguel, thank you. God bless you, beautiful lady. God bless you. Your love for yourself is a product of your love for God. All right. It doesn't come. You cannot love yourself without loving God. You can have a form of love for yourself, something that looks like love, something that mimics love for yourself, but it's more so self-worship and self-obsession. And another word for that is sin, right? It's just self-idolatry, which is actually very common nowadays. God knows my heart. Number 6, it'll only be for a short time until we get married. It'll only be for a short time. It's not like I'm not going to marry you. I am going to marry you. So I think like fornication and all of that stuff, that's just kind of like for other people, like, casually having sex with each other. But you would already know that we're going to get married. So I don't see what the big deal is. That is a promiscuous heart. That is a promiscuous heart. One of the fruits of the spirit is patience. Another thing you want to look for is self-control. A person who doesn't have self-control is not going to make a good spouse, period. And the final one for this list, number 7, no one can remain abstinent until marriage. Ain't nobody out here doing a marriage that I mean, shoot, let's say if you got a single and abstinent pastor. Oh man, he ain't abstinent. He tell y'all that. No one can remain abstinent. Ain't nobody doing all that. You go and tell them, hey, this girl on YouTube that I follow, she's been abstinent for 9 years. They pull that little twisted lip thing. I don't believe all that. I'm telling you right now, she doing something to herself. Ain't no way she done gone that long without. She doing something to herself. She got her a dildo. I ain't got nothing. She must be touching herself. I don't touch myself. I don't do none of that. Because at the end of the day, I present my body as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is my reasonable service. And get this, I don't do it for a man. I don't do it to get a husband. I don't do it so that God can say you are now qualified for a man. No, I do it because God kept me. I do it because God is good. I do it because I belong to God. And I also do it because I like the state of my mind. I'm gonna stop here. Just gonna put a peg here because I want to deal with this. A lot of you right now, this is what God showed me. A lot of people don't like their conscious state. They don't like their sober state. A lot of people don't like their sober state. A lot of people are always trying to find some type of way to introduce adrenaline, alcohol, drugs, drama. They're always trying to introduce something because they don't like their sober state. Why? Because many people are demonized. Many people they haven't learned how to cast down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, to bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. So when they deal with all of those negative thoughts, it feels like torment to them. There are so many people that do not like their conscious or their sober state. There are so many people. This is the reason why they feel like they got to be on the phone 24/7. They got to go outside all the time. They got to be around people all the time. They get upset if you don't answer their phone. They're mad at you, right? They're mad at you because they don't like their conscious state. So this is something that you want to work out. One, you want to work out making sure you build your relationship with God. It is also something you want to work out in therapy. This is just a solution before we go into our next list. Something you want to work out in therapy. Something you want to make sure you take the time out to address, confront, and eradicate. This is something you want to make sure that you're dealing with in deliverance as well. Because it could be, if you're hearing demonic voices, if you're being tormented, you want to get that stuff cast down and cast out, right? But you also want to take the time to learn to navigate your mind, to navigate your thoughts. I think I'm going to create a course for that at some point, to teach people how to navigate life without dealing with the torments of every given day. With me being a single woman, I spend more time with myself than anything, and I find I actually love spending time with myself. I really do. I genuinely love being by myself. We call it introversion, but I love being by myself. I love being left alone with my thoughts, right? But there was a time in my life where I can honestly say that I was always outside. There was a time in my life where I could say that I was always going places, always on the phone with somebody, or what have you. I would spend, like most young ladies, I would spend on average 4 hours a day on the phone, and that was a short day. That was a that wasn't a standard day, because I think I spent more time on the phone than that. But I spent quite a few hours on the phone. I always have voices in my head. Can I tell you this? Whenever you have too much activity around, it's hard for you to hear God. It's hard for you to even hear your own thoughts. It's hard for you to come to recognize who you are, because there's just too much activity going on around you. There's too much going in your ears. There's too much going on around you. There's too many visuals. You need time alone. You need time to get to know you. The 9 years I've been by myself, the 9 years I've been abstinent, the nine years I've been manless, I've gotten to know a lot about Tiffany. I've gotten to know a lot about me. And it's crazy to me, because I realized that me getting to know Tiffany helps me in the dating world. It helps me tremendously in the dating world. That's why it's so easy for me to sit there and I can talk to a guy, give myself 3 days to cut him loose, right? Give myself 3 days, because within 3 days, it doesn't take long to see if a guy is a good fit for you. I'm gonna get back in here. It doesn't take long to see if a dude is a good fit for you. Honestly, all it takes is you listening and you not getting excited about some man being a prospect. All it takes is you really learning to love peace, seeking peace and pursuing it. Where peace don't abide, you dust your feet. It begins in you telling yourself the truth, even when the truth is brutal. It begins in you sitting back and saying, "It wouldn't work with this guy. This guy is not consistent. This guy, he told me he's gonna call me. He didn't call me. This guy keeps saying this. It wouldn't work with this guy." It really just it takes you just being honest with yourself. He's not delivered. He's insecure. He's dealing with this. He's dealing with that. This the type of dude that he's still out here trying to please people. He's still out here trying to impress a bunch of folks, which means that this peace that I've come to love and to enjoy, being in the house, just me and my dog, I wouldn't be able to enjoy this as much as I got with him, because he's still trying to impress people, which is something I'm allergic to. And so he'll be trying to bring folks all up and through the house, trying to show off everything. And then he'll be trying to hush me so that he can make, because that's what it's like to be with somebody that is, you know, trying to impress everybody. Somebody that deals with people pleasing and people bondage, is that they're always trying to make everybody else look good, and they'll hush you to make those people look good. It does not take long. All it does is it takes prayer and intentionality. It takes, hey, when you build, hear me, and I'm gonna get back into this list. When you actually build, you learn how to set an atmosphere. I'll say that. When you learn how to set an atmosphere, you will not want anything that's contrary to that atmosphere. You will learn to create an atmosphere that is conducive for your, not just for your survival, for you to thrive in. God teaches you how to create an atmosphere. When you create that atmosphere and you have that atmosphere of peace, when you have that atmosphere where you are able to prosper in, where you can hear God clearly, where you can hear your thoughts, you're not tormented, you start realizing, man, my growth I've been growing like crazy. Like I see me maturing. I see the fruit of the spirit growing in my life, and they're sweet, they're thriving. I see all of these things coming. Whenever you come in contact with somebody and you get on the phone with them and you realize that they're dealing with a different atmosphere, you will toss them. I'm telling you the truth. Because you realize our atmospheres are going to merge at some point. And I don't want that chaos. I don't want that baby mama chaos. I don't want that. I don't discipline my kid chaos where your child is controlling it. I don't want none of that. You can keep that smoke. You can keep that over there. I don't want none of that. You know why? Because I've set an atmosphere. And in this atmosphere, I thrive. In this atmosphere, ain't nobody arguing. Ain't no fighting going on. I'm not in a fight with myself. In this atmosphere, peace. The peace that surpasses all understanding. When you create atmospheres like that, trust me, sexual immorality will be the least of your worries, because anybody that threatens you with their penis will become a history lesson. Anybody that say anything about what I do to you, you already need. I'll tell you this. I'll say this, and then we're gonna go back into this. I know that there are quite a few. I know men are like this, but I don't know if ladies are like this. But I can tell you that I'm like this. If I'm talking to you, if I'm talking to a dude and he says something to me about his penis or anything sexual, I put a check in my head. I've been doing this since I was in the world. You're not it. I can talk to you for another 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or what have you. But I already told myself, you're not it. And when I tell myself that, I've secured that you're not it, because that person is not going to make a good spouse. That person is not going to make a good spouse because they're controlled by what's between their legs. And if you can't control yourself, if that little bitty thing between your legs is coming out of your tongue and telling you what to say so that it can be satisfied, y'all married. And I'm not going to be in a relationship or marriage with a man like that, knowing good and well I can't trust him. Knowing good and well ain't no telling what he out there doing, and he out there poking somebody else or what have you. Listen, God has protected me, and I'm not trying to have somebody bring me home. Nothing. All right. So let's talk about characteristics of a sexually immoral heart. I don't know why it feels like tonight I can't talk. I can talk, but I don't know what's happening tonight. But characteristics of a sexually immoral heart. Characteristics of a sexually immoral heart. Number one, when you're sexually immoral, you will date the unsaved. You will date the unsaved. That means that you're not fully in agreement with God. A house divided cannot stand. Don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. You don't believe that. You may know the word, you may know those scriptures, but you don't understand them. Remember, God says, above all that, get understanding, and wisdom is the principal thing. So it is possible. A lot of Christians, they stop at 30-fold, which is knowledge. They never get to 60-fold, which is understanding, 100-fold, which is wisdom. They'll stop at 30-fold. I know what the Bible says, but God knows my heart. They're going to speak to what they understand. They hold on to their worldly understanding while getting scriptures. While getting scriptures, they'll have the scripture and they'll have their worldly understanding. And so the scriptures are 30-fold, the outer court. But without understanding, the scriptures have there's no substance, right? And when there's no substance, it's easy to penetrate. They will date the unsaved. You're dealing with an unsaved person, they're not dealing with the conviction of the Holy Spirit. And you know good and well that you're going to have to fight for your purity. You know good and well you're going to have to sit there and try to tell that dude, I'm a Christian. I don't believe in all that. Oh, what have you? And you know he going to work hard. He going to work overtime. He'll tell you, I respect that. He'll tell you all that stuff. But he don't respect that. He going to work overtime to get in your draws. And for those of you who may be watching this live, or those of you who may watch the replay, because I know that there are going to be people that tune into this that are dating the unsaved. I want to give you a little bit of revelation. Unsaved people, whenever you're a Christian and you're abstinent, a lot of times you provoke a sexual curiosity in them. They're sexually curious about you. In other words, okay, let me say it this way. I'm going to make it make sense. I've been abstinent 9 years. You don't think I'm aware of the fact that when a man discovers that make 9 years? Man, I wonder what that's like. 9 years, not a virgin. Whatever understanding or whatever belief he has, a lot of times that'll start dominating his thoughts, and he'll be sexually curious. Now, when he's sexually curious, hear me, he'll try to get me outside of marriage. However, there are some people out there who deal so strongly with lust and so strongly with sexual curiosity, they'll say, well, she's a Christian girl. She wouldn't cheat on me and she wouldn't leave. In other words, if I cheat on her, she wouldn't leave. They'll say that. But there are some guys out there, and there are some women out there who will. There are some people out there that will marry you just to sleep with you. Y'all, I'm going to tell you the truth tonight. I'm going to tell you the truth. There are some people that will go all the way to the altar with you because you're a virgin. For those of you who are virgins, just because you're a virgin, because they like, I ain't never been with a virgin before. I wonder what that's like. Or last time I was with a virgin, I was like 17 years old. I ain't know what I was doing. But man, to be with a virgin right now, there are people that will go all the way to the altar with you, exchange vows with you, take you home, deflower you all over the place, have fun with you, and in less than a year, they want a divorce. In less than a year, they don't know what they want. They confused. They out there thotting it out, and they'll go back out there to the type of women that they're accustomed to, or the type of men that they're accustomed to, because it was just sexual curiosity. So I'm trying to say this is why you don't date the unsaved, and this is why whenever you come across a saved, you want to see, do he love the Lord enough for him to put his penis on that altar, or is he still running around like, I've given God my heart? You have, yes. I gave him my head. I remember some scriptures and everything. Okay, that's cute. But what about your pee? What you talking about? Is that whole body is what's on the altar, boy? Or do you not honor God enough for you to honor your body, for you to honor his daughters? Because when I told you, I told the men of God, and I haven't done it yet, I was gonna come out and teach y'all a powerful lesson. But I'm gonna give you a little snippet. Whenever you're sleeping with a woman because she's a weaker vessel, she essentially becomes your wife, and you become responsible for her. You wonder why you broke is because you got a lot of wives out there that you're being irresponsible towards. Sorry. I know we got a modern day understanding of what it means to be a wife. That ain't it. This modern day stuff, this is culture it is no more than about 200-300 years old, many of it, or 500 years old. When you're out here, because to whom much is given, much is required, you're the stronger vessel. When you're out here being promiscuous, when you're out here, every time you sleep with a woman, you are bringing her into submission. Every time you sleep with a woman, you are responsible for her. But characteristics of a sexually immoral heart, I'm trying not to go into that. You will date the unsaved. You will date the unsaved. You'll tell yourself, well, ain't nothing wrong. And it's these Christian folks. Christian folks be fake anyway. You know, it's funny to me when people love the world, how they try to attack the church. Why don't you just be raw and say, I still love the world. I still got the spirit of the world. I haven't been sanctified yet. I haven't been consecrated yet. And so because of that, I still got a taste for the world. I still got an attraction to the world. I still want what the world has to offer. And I get mad at the church because I ain't trying to do all of that stuff. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna sit back and say that the church is fake, so I can justify still loving the world. So I can justify still doing the things of the world. You would date the unsaved. Number two, you would date fornicators. You would date fornicators, which the Bible tells you not to. When you have a promiscuous heart, when you yourself are struggling with fornication, when you yourself are still not trusting God as it relates to your body, when your body is still your God, you will date fornicators. You will date them. You'll date them and you'll sit there and you'll tell them, hey, well, I don't believe in all that. Oh, boy, stop playing. You'll play a lot of mind games. You know, boy, stop playing. You know what? I'm trying to wait till marriage. You coming over. Whatever. Hmm. You be playing a lot. And he know, right? He know just the way you talking that you identify as Christian, but you don't have a Christ-like heart. Your heart, you haven't surrendered yourself. He know he gonna get some. You can't come to my house. Well, I can't come over there. I told you, I'm trying to do this thing the right way. Okay, we can sit in the living room, we can talk, whatever. So I'm getting in my car now. I'm gonna take a quick shower and I'll come over there. What a dude tell you I'm gonna take a quick shower. He's saying I know I'm gonna get some. Why are you taking a shower in the middle of the day? Whatever. You gonna let me come over? Boy, come on. But you're gonna stay in the living room. You playing all types of games, and he already know that you playing hard to get. Trust me. If I never told you nothing else, ladies, I told you I was raised around a lot of promiscuous men in my family, and I'm gonna tell you this: Them games don't work. Trust me, you're not tricking them. They don't believe what you say. They've heard it 1,000 times. When you that voice, yeah, you ain't. What you gonna take a shower for? I guess you can come over, but you ain't nothing gonna go down. I ain't trying to make nothing go down unless you wanted to. But whatever. What time you gonna get here? Give me about 45 minutes. All right, call me when you pulling up. Then she go take a shower. Then she whip out her candles and go sweep the floor and mop the floor and put some incense around the house and try to put on a little light music. And then she put on something that's a little bit sexy and tell herself that she's abstinent. An abstinent fornicator, celibate fornicator. That is not an abstinent woman. That's a woman who's still struggling in her flesh, and she keeps on trying to manipulate God into thinking that she's abstinent. But realistically speaking, she knows without a shadow of doubt that she wants to have sex. You would date fornicators, and you'll date them because you're still there. Can two walk together except they agree? You'll date them because you know that you're going to do something with them. And then you'll go through all the prompts and stuff like that for whatever reason, thinking you're tricking God. Stop touching my leg. You come on. And next thing you know, you're talking about something. I can't believe I did that. I've only done that with you. And the guy just play right there with you. He'll be like, for real. He'll play right along with you. If that's the game you want to play, okay. Number 3, the characteristics of a sexually immoral heart. You accuse the church of being judgmental. I'm trying to see. I'm looking at the numbers. I want to see if they go down. You attack the church. People who are sexually immoral almost always attack the church. They almost always have something to say against leaders, going to church. This is why I watch from home or what have you. I think that it has to be said that y'all got to understand that you're not tricking God. You may be lying to yourself. You can lie to the whole wide internet, but you're not tricking God. God looks at your heart. Man looks at the outward appearance. God looks at the heart. Your heart is having a different conversation than your mouth does. With God, your heart has no choice but to tell the truth. Your heart is having a different conversation with him than your mouth is. Your mouth is saying, God, I don't believe in these pastors. They fake. And look at here. I'm going to show you this. And see, this is the reason I don't go to church. Lie. You don't go to church because you don't want to be responsible. You don't go to church because the church won't cater to you. You don't go to church because you want to continue living in the world. I'm not saying this for everybody. I'm saying this for a large number, majority of people who have that testimony. They're not going to church because they want to still live for the world. They don't want to deal with the conviction. They don't want to hear nothing about tithes and offerings. They don't want to go through all of that. They don't want to feel awkward whenever the praise and worship comes on because they ain't got a praise in them. And so they'll much rather deal with just watch church from home so that they can just sit up there and they don't feel the conviction. They want a pastor that they can pause. They want a pastor. They want a worship experience that they can fast forward. They don't want the heart of God. They don't want the revelation of God. They just want heaven. It's the same thing somebody being on the phone with you that don't really like you, but he wants your draws. He on the phone with you, you talking and telling him about your life, and you here? Yeah, babe, I'm here. I hear you. Keep talking. The whole time he tolerating you because he wants your draws. That's how people are with God. They tolerate him. And you can tell the ones that are tolerated because they got a problem with the church. They got a problem. Yes. Are there crazy people in the church? Yep. Are there people in the church that are immoral? Yep. But they still hang around them type of people in the world. They just don't want the conviction. You know why I talk about that kind of stuff? Really, in all our honesty, is not to beat people up that do that. It's to say, if that's you, God sees you so that you can say, hey, Tiffany, no, you ain't got to say it to me. God, you know what? I repent. I repent. I don't be wanting to get up early in the morning on Sundays. I don't want to make any type of sacrifice as it relates to the kingdom. I just want to live for my flesh. And I have given my flesh too much runway in my life. I've allowed my flesh to run wild. I repent. You accuse the church of being judgmental. Number 4, You will French kiss your insignificant other. You will French kiss your insignificant other. French kissing alone is foreplay. French kissing, let's not play games with each other. Let's not play games with each other. You have no trouble, and I'm talking to those of you who identify as Christians. Tongue all down some dude's throat. What is the purpose? I've said this 1,000 times. What is the purpose of heating up the oven if you don't plan to put anything in it? Tongue all down some dude's throat. Your tongue all down some girl's throat. Y'all about to choke each other out. About to choke each other out. And this is the silliest thing I've seen people do. You do all of that kissing, but you're trying to do the abstinence thing. And y'all get through kissing, and you're like, stop. Whew, boy, I gotta go home. You ain't gonna cause me to slip. You ain't gonna cause me to slip. Why get yourself in that position? Why would I sit up there? Because you know you lose your sobriety in that moment. Why am I going to relinquish my sobriety to be sitting up here with my mouth all over some dude? And now once we finish the kissing, I'm sitting up here like, boy, you better go home to your mama right now. I'm finna go. Who, goodness gracious. Then get on the phone with him. He be like, man, you almost got it today. You have no idea. You have no idea. Don't be playing with me like that. Why am I going to do that? It makes no sense. Why am I going to sit there and go into the kiss that leads to the grind? Y'all don't like how real I be sometimes. The kiss that leads to the grind that leads to a little bit more, and then it leads to kind of just put the tip in. And this is how Junior got born. Junior tip baby. Junior tip baby. Now you got this little kid running around, and you can't even pay for him. The father of the kid is out in the wind, putting his tip in somebody else. While you on the phone with another dude who's saying the same old bull crap, and you falling for it all over again. Yeah, how many tip babies you got? Come on, raise your hand if you got a tip baby. You got a tip baby. You should have called it nickname of Tip. No, don't get nickname of Tip because my name is Tiffany. And so some people called me Tip back in the day. They were like, hey, Tip. It's a tip, baby. It was supposed to be a tip. You will French kiss your insignificant other. The Tip Junior, right? And call him the Tippy Quan. This kid is running out here. It started off with, your daddy, he used to play drums at the church, and came over to the house, and we were talking, and we just kissed, and wasn't supposed to be anything beyond that. And next thing you know, I was on my couch, and it was a slow grind that led to a even more aggressive grind that led to a tip, and here you are. I quit that church after that. I started attacking the church after that. Y'all ain't nothing but hypocrites because you feel convicted. It's crazy when people can't deal with their own conviction. They attack the church. When people can't deal with their conviction, they attack the church. They attack pastors. They'll attack everybody else to deflect because they can't deal with their own conviction. You will accuse the church of being judgmental. That was number 4. That was number 3. Number 4, you will French kiss your insignificant other. You will have your tongue all up and down his throat, and then you keep on singing that same old song. I don't know what happened. Lies. You know what happened. When you were driving over to his house, or he was driving over to your house, you knew what was going to go down. Well, Tiffany, he came into town. I'm going to tell somebody's story. I don't know whose story this is. He came to town, and he got a hotel room, and I went to visit him in his hotel room, and we were just gonna watch a little bit of TV and all that. And girl, it got kind of late, and next thing you know, I fell asleep, and it was all good at first. It was cool at first. I fell asleep. He fell asleep. Let me know when I can unmute. I fell asleep and he fell asleep. And the next thing you know, we were, in the bed and it was a tip and a child. All right, you can unmute now. You can unmute. Okay, get to a sign. All right. Number 5, you would go somewhere to be alone with your insignificant other. This is the characteristics of a sexually immoral heart. Because I'm trying to show you the heart is deceptive. Who does it deceive? Everybody, including you. Your heart lies to you. Because see, a lot of times we think that it's my heart. So no, your heart, this is why the Bible tells you, lean not to your own understanding. And above all thy ways, acknowledge him and he will direct your path. Your heart is deceptive. It's deceptive. It's wicked. Your heart will tell you, you can go over there wearing a period bra, a period panties and a holy bra, a bra that's hanging on by threads. And that way your heart is a lie. And you've done that. And I've told y'all before, what did you do? You just cut the lights off, or you learn how to grab your pants with your panties and pull them down at the same time, didn't you? You learn how he didn't get a chance to see him. And when it was over with, said and done, he was like, you gonna put your underwear back on? You grabbed him. I got a napkin right here, y'all. Look, I wiped off my camera. You grabbed your drawers like this and said, I'm just gonna put them in my purse. I'm gonna put them in my purse. I'm telling on y'all. You know who ain't saying nothing? Those of you who I'm telling on. Those of you who I'm telling on. Tyrone laying next to you in the bed right now. Crusted up. Just crusty. Okay. You will go somewhere to be alone with your insignificant other. Can I come over to your house? Sure. I'm going to go over to your house. You can come over to can I come over to your house? Yeah. You going to come over here? I come over there, boy. Shoot, stop. You do realize, just to say, you do realize you're wrapped in flesh. You do understand that being wrapped in flesh, that there is temptation. You do realize why Joseph ran from Potiphar's wife. Joseph didn't run from Potiphar's wife because she was strong. You got to imagine, 1, men are stronger than women already. 2, Joseph was a slave. Joseph likely had some hammers. So what they call them now? Joseph likely had some sledgehammers. This was likely a big built, I won't say big, but he was likely a built dude. Just got these muscles and stuff like that. Why do you think Miss Potiphar was looking at him? She watching her husband probably clean his nails. And here go Joseph over there picking up horses and moving stuff around. She like, who that slave boy? One time. That's a whole mentality. One time. We'll talk about that. Whole mentality. Just give me one time. One time. Just want to try him one time. See what it's like one time. One time. Whole mentality. Whole mentality. She wanted to sleep with this guy. But Joseph ran. That was the point I was about to make. Joseph did not run because he was afraid that Mrs. Potiphar would pin him down and take away his sweet, childish manhood. Joseph ran because Joseph understood his body. Joseph understood the nature of arousal. Joseph understood if Mr. Winky stand up, Mrs. Potiphar is going to be all over this house. He understood that if I let this moment get this intense, I'm going to be living in regret. You see, some of y'all got regret babies right now. You know what I'm talking about. You got babies that you may not regret your kid, but the kid, they happen in a moment of regret. You allowed yourself to get aroused. You didn't plan to have sex. That dude didn't plan to have sex. Y'all had no, there was, or you, maybe it was you, and you got aroused. And you didn't run when you got aroused. You sat there and you just tried to coach yourself out of it. Come on, where the truth tellers at? You tried to coach yourself out of it. He talking and you telling yourself, ain't nothing going down. Ain't nothing going down but his penis. Ain't nothing going down. He ain't gonna touch me. All that. And you kept telling yourself that. And every time he kissed your neck, you're like, stop, boy. And before long, there came that tip. Junior was born. Whenever you're in a situation like that, whenever you're alone with a person, you have to understand that the Bible tells us to flee fornication, right? This is what Joseph did. He fled because Joseph understood that if I allow myself to sit here, I'm going to get aroused. And if I allow this thing to continue to build, it's going to get stronger than me in the moment. My muscles won't matter in that moment. My prayer life won't matter in that moment. If I allow this thing to build, I need to get myself out of that environment. So my question to you is, why take yourself into an environment that God told you to run from? Where we at? We still alive. I know my eyes are red. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. Why go to an environment that God told you not to go, that God tells you to run from? Why would you walk into Potiphar's house when you see Joseph running right past you? Ain't nothing gonna happen, Sister Tiffany. I'm just gonna go up in there and sit down with her. Miss Potiphar, she just needs a man to just try to help her to understand why she needs to be faithful to Potiphar. Bro, Potiphar gonna mess around and have a dark skin. He gonna be looking at a kid coming out of his wife with some kinky hair and some plus size lips, and he be like, "What happened? I thought you were gonna go talk to him." That lady was something else. All right. Number 6, characteristics of a sexually immoral heart. God's desires come second to your own. You figure you'll please him later. God's desires come second to your own. You tell yourself, I'll please him later, or I'll apologize to him later. God's desire comes second to your own. You tell yourself, I'll please him later. God's desires come second to your own. I know I'm Christian and all that, but I don't know if I can do that abstinence thing. In other words, I refuse to do that. I will confess Jesus as my Lord and Savior, but I'll only serve him as my Savior. I won't let him be my Lord. Did you catch that? Do I think Potiphar's wife is not attractive? I think she was beautiful because she was the wife of a wealthy and powerful man. And history shows that wealthy and powerful men typically go after women that are beautiful. And in many cases, she was probably given to Potiphar because back in that time, when you're wealthy, she could have been given to Potiphar by Pharaoh himself. As hey, I really want to have you as this. You're amazing, and what have you. And they would typically say, hey, here's my daughter, or here's my niece, or what have you. But I think she was beautiful. But at the same time, I also think when it comes down to lust, the history of people, not just men, shows that when a person gets into that space of lust where it's high level, they don't care if they don't care if the person they're about to sleep with looks like a burnt baboon that's been dipped in acid and baked in the Sahara Desert. They really don't care. They're gonna go in it, and then after that, they'll deal with the regret later. They'll go do what they're gonna do, and then they'll deal with the regret later. But I do think she was beautiful. God's desires come second to your own. You figure you'll please him, you'll please yourself first, and him later. And whenever you have that type of mentality, you set yourself up for the narcissist. Just so you know. Whenever you have that type of mentality, you set yourself up for the narcissist because that's a form of self-worship. And I've given this example before. The way you attract the narcissist is you start mastering the art of self-worship. Me, look at me, my thing, my mental health, me. You start mastering the art of self-worship, and that which is a form of narcissism. And then the narcissist comes around, and they look and they chill from the back, and they be like, I like the way you worship yourself. I like the way you exalt yourself. I like the way you just love on yourself. And it's not love. You're telling yourself it's love. And then the next thing you know, the narcissist comes and they build a soul tie with you. And once they create that soul tie, um, after a while, they say, now give me that worship. So you go from worshiping yourself. This is why I tell people it's only 30-fold to get delivered from the narcissist. You got to get delivered from worshiping yourself as well. And then you got to get delivered from idolatry altogether. It's only 30-fold to get delivered from the narcissist. If you get delivered from the narcissist, y'all break up, you're still going to be worshiping yourself. You're still going to be talking about someone going on this mental health movement. I'm doing this. It's me, me, me. I'm going to do this. And I'm trying to work on myself. And that's the reason I'm not going to church. That's why I cut off 80% of the people in my life. It's just me, 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 self-worship. And so you go back into that cycle. And whenever that spirit comes back, it's going to come back 7 times worse because you're in a cycle. You're in a cycle of self-worship. And whenever you have that self-worship, you keep building, you become your own proverbial calf. So you keep building yourself up until you become swollen like a calf. You know, that's what they used to do back in the day. They would overfeed the calf because they wanted the calf to get big, right? And then they would sacrifice the calf whenever somebody great or somebody powerful, somebody grand came around. They would try to designate like the fatted calf. They would try to designate the calf that they had put time and effort and lots of money into for somebody great. And this is what we have a tendency to do with ourselves. We do this instinctively. I tell people that worship is instinctive, which means that you do it without even thinking about doing it. So what ends up happening is you see people, they start to swell themselves up, right? That's pride. They start swelling themselves up. Girl, you are beautiful. You are this, you are that. They keep on puffing themselves up. They just keep swelling themselves up. And the next thing you know, again, some narcissist sits from the back and says, you looking robust. You so full of yourself, I like it. You so full of yourself, I can't stand to have another day without getting your phone number. You so full of yourself. And then they exchange phone numbers. And then a narcissist will sit there and build that relationship. The narcissist will sit there and the narcissist will worship them for a minute. The narcissist will say, you it, girl, you all that. You this, you that, all that. They'll tell you everything you want. And they'll get you to the point where you feel like you're in love. You can't live without them. They'll get you to that point. And once they get you to that place, that point, then they go from, I'm in love with you to, in other words, give me my worship back and add interest on it. That worship you would give it to you, give it to me now. You can no longer worship yourself anymore. And so then the fight starts because both of y'all are worshiping, you're fighting over worship. You're fighting over worship. And then eventually you'll probably give in to the narcissist. You begin to worship the narcissist and everything is good until the worship, the narcissist says, that spirit in them says, this ain't enough. I need you to make a sacrifice. You're gonna have to cut somebody off in your life. You're gonna have to do, you're gonna, this ain't enough. I'm not satisfied. Because when you're dealing with the demon is never fully satisfied, right? You can pacify it for a moment, but it's gonna be hungry again. Where was I? Moving on to number 7. Characteristics of a sexually immoral heart. You hate correction. You hate correction. You hate when somebody tell you that you're wrong. You hate when somebody try to give you revelation or information. You get offended. You hate correction. And that is a product of you being bound and having one of the guarding spirits is a spirit of offense. Offense is a guarding spirit. And so what the spirit of offense does is it'll guard your heart. The Bible told you to guard your heart, but when you were ineffective in doing that, then there's something that got into your hearts, a bunch of unclean spirits, a bunch of ungodly beliefs, a bunch of traumas and stuff like that got in. And then Leviathan, the spirit of pride, started to wrap your heart. And then he had these guards of offense to come so that you can know the truth and the truth couldn't set you free. So the spirit of offense comes. So when somebody says something to you and says, sis, that's not the man for you. You know, y'all are not married and he's already putting his hands on you. Like he's touching you and that's clear. You, oh my goodness, you always got something to say. Just because you manless out here, listen, I ain't got a problem with him touching me. I ain't got and let me say this. Can I say this? Can I, y'all, I'll never forget something. My first pastor, when I got saved, he said something to me that I've never forgot. Well, he didn't say it to me. He said it to the congregation, but I took it for me. He said, a man that will touch your butt and stuff in public does not respect you. He said, a man is set to cover his wife. Everything that belongs to him, he wants to keep it hidden. And a man, you know, I like to get quiet in moments like this because you're just trying to see who's going to respond. If somebody, a man who respects you will not be filling you up in public. A man who respects you is not going to be groping your butt in public. He won't be having his hand all down your shirt in public. He won't be grabbing you by your legs and picking you up and doing stuff like that with you in public. I'll never forget those words. When I tell you, hear me, whenever a pastor just told me that for dating, don't let man touch you but on your outside. Yeah, he can't touch you in any private area. And when you get married, you got to pay attention to that. I remember him saying that. I remember there are certain things you're going to hear in life and you will store them in your heart. Some of these things you may even hear on this video, you will store them in your heart. And right, prostitutes get treated like that, but you will store them in your heart and you will never forget. So there are a lot of things that I've heard and I've learned from people that I've come in contact with in my life that I literally stored in my heart. And that was one of the things that I stored in my heart. He said, a man that respects you, he said, a man that respects you will not touch you. He said, because a man wants to cover his wife. A man doesn't want to reveal his wife. A man that loves you is not telling you to put on the sexiest outfit. He's not telling you to reveal what he feels. He wants to cover that. He wants to cover that. He doesn't want your tickle bitties out on display. He don't want your butt cheek hanging out. He wants to cover that because to him, that's sacred. That belongs to him. But a man who doesn't respect you wants everybody else to see what he's getting. A man that doesn't respect you will go tell his boys about how he hitting you and what you felt and how you scream because he doesn't respect you. He said that, and I have never forgot those words. I always stored those in my heart. Like, okay. All right. Where are we? You hate correction, number 7. You hate correction. And people who hate correction typically hate leaders. They start hating leaders because, you can be preaching and what have you, and they feel like you're preaching at them. That was one of the issues that I had for a while, which is why I don't let a lot of people get close to me. I believe in kingdom connections and what have you. My kingdom connections, I'm cool with them. I let them come close. But I don't let everybody come close to me. You got to have a level of maturity because I know I'm going to preach. And I don't want to preach something and then have somebody that is easily offended. Like, I know that was about me. I know that was about me. She throwing shade. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm literally just teaching. But you hate correction. Number 8, when you fall into sexual sin, you feel bad, but you won't stop. You feel bad, but you won't stop. In order to stop falling into sexual sin, you just got to you have to repent. To repent means to turn your heart away and to turn your heart away from it. But you can't turn your heart away from it without new information. You need knowledge of why God says. You got to know what the scripture says about your body and what the scriptures say about fornication. And then at the same time, you have to have understanding of what the scripture says. So then you want to get some books. If you struggle with that, you want to get books on it. You want to understand ungodly soul ties. You want to understand how sacred your body is. You want to get understanding. This is what causes you to come into agreement with God. But when you fall into sexual sin, you feel bad, but you won't stop. You feel bad, but you won't stop. You be like, man, this is horrible. When will I rise again to see another penis? This is terrible. I regret I did this. And you'll just keep going. You'll keep going. And that is a sign that you need deliverance as well. You need revelation, you need information, you need understanding, but you're also in need of deliverance. You feel bad, you feel guilty, and you keep telling yourself, man, this guy gonna get married. Hopefully he proposes to me in 2023. So it can no longer be fornication. I'm about to hit you. Y'all, I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you with the truth. This is what God taught me. I tell people this all the time. I got delivered from fornication while I was married. I used to think fornication was what you did in the bedroom or what you did in the backseat of a Chevy or what you did on the kitchen table or what you did on the living room couch or what you did in the car on the floor, wherever you decided to go to do what you did. I thought that was what fornication was. And while that's the fruit of fornication, God really wants to address the heart of fornication. The heart of fornication is when you have not come out of agreement with fornication. When your heart is still singing, I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. That's the heart of fornication. When people have the heart of fornication and they stop having sex because they say, I know this is wrong, I know this is wrong, that's good. That's 30-fold. That's them saying, okay, let me do right. However, you got to, in order to sustain that, you got to get some information. You need substance. You got to go and get a book. You got to go ask questions. You got to go get counseling. You got to go get everything that you need so you can sustain it. Other than that, you'll fall right back into the same trap because you don't agree with God. And you can't walk with God in your flesh unless you agree with God. You won't walk with God unless you agree with him. When you start agreeing with God, I'm telling you right now, I said it before. I said it once and I'll say it before. I'll say it again. I told y'all I'm tripping over my words today. But when you don't agree with God, you'll tell yourself that we won't be fornicating long because we're going to get married. But you'll still have the heart of fornication. The heart of fornication does not get cast out when you get married. It simply becomes a heart of adultery. See, this Vaseline be coming in handy. My hands get dry. See, y'all using it for other reasons. I like to give you a little moment to process what I just said. The heart of fornication is not cast out in marriage. It does not go away. It simply becomes fornication with a wedding ring on. It becomes adultery. It doesn't go away. It doesn't stop. When I repented, what I was saying to God was, even outside of this relationship, if it was the end, which of course it did, I won't have sex outside of marriage. See, some people, what they do is they'll get married and they'll say, I repent for fornication, but they still have the heart of a fornicator. They're still in agreement with fornication, which is why if their relationships don't work, they fall right back into it. If their relationship don't work, they go right back into the same old dust because they never got fully free from it. They just tried to manipulate God. Manipulating God or an attempt to manipulate God is one of the most common sins you will find on the earth, on this planet today. With today's, especially today's westernized Christian, is always trying to gaslight God. Well, God, you understood. Well, you made me like this. Well, you sit up there. You know what happened to me with Uncle Earl. You know, and God's like, therapy. Everything that you need is already at your fingertips. Just be honest with yourself. This is how you get free. You get free when you open up and say, I like sex. I don't know why. I just want it. I like it. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now we can go to the root. Were you molested? No. Or yeah. Okay, we're getting somewhere. But you don't have enough revelation to keep you free. But when you fall into sexual sin, you fall bad, but you won't stop. Number 9, you listen to music that promotes sexual immorality. You listen to music that promotes sexual immorality. You listen to music that has you're sitting up, you got R. Kelly in your car, and you just playing 12 play and all this other stuff. And you ain't got now, you don't have a love prospect in sight. You don't have a spouse. You listen to the stuff that tells you to go do stuff with your body. Like, okay, how is it that I'm going to listen to God? I'm going to listen to scripture. I'm going to listen to my pastor preach. I'm going to study the word and all that. And I got words that are telling me to go in this direction, go to the right. And then I turn around and listen to music that tells me to go in that direction. How is it that I got something telling me to go here and something telling me to go there? Isn't that the definition of a storm when those two winds cross? I'm trying to show you where the storm comes from within. It's because you got two conflicting doctrines going in. Right, Jodeci, listen to the stuff. Listen to the stuff that make you anxious for marriage. Listen to stuff that make you anxious for a relationship. And I don't know if y'all know, but love bombing is addictive. That stuff feels good. It's part of the sensual. Anything that deals with the five senses is going to feel good. I didn't say it was good. I said it feels good. Somebody love bombing you, telling you, I want to be with you. I want to marry you. I want to have babies with you. I want to spend life with you. All the while, they breath smells like double mint, and they got on this cologne, and it just smells so relaxing and strong at the same time. And then they turn around and touch you, and their hands are strong, and all of that stuff. Anything, and you look at them, and I'm trying to talk about all the different five senses. You look at them, and they look good. You kiss them, and their breath don't taste like their breath don't taste like Wednesday morning. Like everything pleasant. Your flesh likes that kind of stuff. Your flesh likes sensuality. Period, point blank. Your flesh likes sensuality. So that's why I feel so good. It feels amazing. No ice. It feels good. It feels good. Music that promotes sensuality, our souls like it. We like it for the most part. Because the enemy used to be the worship leader in heaven. We know that. He knows how to put together a tone, a beat. He knows how to put stuff together that have you sitting up there in your car, not wanting to get out your car, just lean back, looking at the stars, ain't got a man in sight. The enemy knows how to make really good music that speaks to your soul. Why you call it soul music. Or rhythm and blues. Or soul or pop. All of that. You listen to music that promotes sexual immorality. That is a sign that you are dealing with a sexually immoral heart. Number 10, last one for this list, I think. Well, no, we got one more after this list. Number 10, your circle of friends are sexually indiscriminate. The people in your circle are all dealing with sexual immorality. That is a sign that you have a sexually immoral heart. Number 11, we'll move on. Lust has conjugal visits with you. I'm talking to those of you're Christian. Lust has conjugal visits with you. In other words, you're bound, you're in prison, but lust will come and visit you. You may have those little times where you're doing good. Sister Tiffany, it's been 4 weeks. I'm so proud of you. God, thank you. Catch you next week. You look like a plug bird. You good? Can't even give eye contact anymore. You good? I always got that one little hair sticking up right here. You straight? Lust and Cain paid you a visit. And Cain paid you a visit. And while it was paying you a visit, had you up in your room, sitting up there struggling. You're like, okay, let me look up. Let me look at. Isn't sensuality part of being a woman? No, it's part of being a human. How can you be your full feminine self without embracing sensuality? Sensuality has everything to do with the senses, the body. It has everything to do with the flesh. As a female, I don't have to be seductive, which is what you're actually describing. You're not describing sensuality, you're describing seductiveness. I don't need seductive because seduction means to lead astray. I can be feminine without me being sensual. In other words, I don't necessarily, I could appeal to the man's eyes, but realistically speaking, if you've never been married, let me tell you something about men. They don't care for the hair or the makeup. Not when they have a wife. They don't care too much for that kind of stuff. Um, you can buy lingerie when you're married. They don't care for it. I used to be the deceptive one that thought that I needed all that because it's what the world told you. And when the world told me that, I collected it and what have you. I was a size 3, size 4, so I was good with mine. I didn't like that little gown stuff. No, you give me the lace, the see through one, the one that looked like a swimsuit, what you call teddies, right? I used to look. I had a lot of them. I used to buy that stuff or what have you, and I used to love that when I was married. And I remember my ex looked at me one day. He said, "I don't know why you keep wasting money." And I'm not telling you not to get it because you can have fun with it. But I am saying most of the time a man will tell you, "You wasting money, just come to bed naked. I'm gonna take it right off of you." Because catch this. A lot of the stuff that we have embraced comes from prostitute culture. It comes from prostitute culture. Because women started wondering why their men were out there cheating on them with prostitutes. Prostitutes out there on the street wearing lace underwear and stilettos and a bunch of lipstick and a ton of makeup or what have you. And we started thinking that's what men wanted. So, not really. No, because when you get married, realistically speaking, you can do all that and it does make for fun. All right. It does make for fun. So I fought for my right to wear lingerie. It does make for fun. But realistically speaking, I'm going to give you all the truth. I'm going to give you all the truth. And there's some guys in here that'll back me up, I'm sure. Realistically speaking, man don't care for you coming to bed with makeup he doesn't want it on your face. You can sit there and tell all day, let me get in the shower. He will tell you I like your natural scent. I don't want you, why are you trying to get in the shower? All of that stuff that we do because Hollywood told us that we need to do it. When you get married, they don't care for none of that stuff. All that stuff get that sensuality. I want to have the room smelling like myrrh and aloe and cinnamon, and I want to come out in the lingerie, and I want to have a nice long lace front wig on with lashes that are longer than my than my leg hairs, or lashes that are longer than my hair. I want to come out there and I want to dance and I want to have the music and stuff like that. Men don't care for that. Seductive women are winning broken men. If that's what you want, go for it. Go for it. I'm not. I'm this. I don't teach people how to get a man. That's one of the misconceptions when I do lessons like that is that I'm teaching people how to get a man. No, I teach people how to be their best self in Christ. The right man comes along, the man of God, not just a man. I don't. Me being a female, and I'm going to say this out loud, and I think most women can attest to this. Me being a female, I can tell you that what was I about to say? Maybe got it. But me come to one thing I came to understand. Okay, me being a female, I know what I was about to say. It's not hard to get a man. At all. At all, at all, at all. It's not hard. It's hard for us to get the men that we want. I even learned that the type of guy I want is not always what I need. I've learned to let God take hold of that. So it's not a thing about getting a guy. Getting a guy is actually easy. It's easy, but being found by the right man, that's the challenge. So seductive women are out there winning because they're catching men who are already led astray. They're catching those guys. So yes, they can go get them. They can take them from you. What have you? Satan will send a broken woman to come back and repossess what is his whenever he doesn't feel like you're serving him the way he wants to be served. So if you go out here and get yourself a broken man, he can be good and decent and all that other stuff. Give it a few years. If the enemy has the deed to his heart, if the enemy has a title to his heart, the enemy will send a broken woman to come and confiscate him. She'll be like a tow truck. She'll come up in a deep, 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 or what have you. So, all out honesty, there's a difference between a man and a man of God. And when I say a man of God, don't think Christian men, because not all Christian men are men of God. I'm talking about a man who has the heart of God, a man who understands that he has purpose, a man who doesn't follow the crowd, a man who follows God and is always crying out to God like, God, I need help. I want to serve you with my body, with my mind, with my finances. I want to serve you in every which way possible. Use me. I surrender myself to you. That type of man is rare. That's the type of man I teach on. When I'm teaching, I'm trying to tell ladies, hey, stand down, heal, and you become that woman so you can attract that type of man, because they do exist. God hides them. But what you see commonly, what you see commonly out there, that ain't what you want. They fun to have in the beginning. Those are Genesis dudes. Genesis dudes, there's always an exodus to them. Genesis dudes, they don't get to, you gonna get to Revelation, and then Genesis dude, it doesn't go the way that we go. It goes Genesis, then there is Exodus. Well, no, Genesis, then there's Revelation, then there's Exodus. Because you get to the Revelation, you start realizing this dude's a thought. This dude don't have no self-control. This dude is a narcissist. He's a gaslighter. He's this, he's that. He doesn't fear God. And then you out there relationship, then you're out there with another one. And you find yourself in that cycle. And then you see them over there with other women or what have you. And they look like they're winning because, they know how to get the dudes. They can get them, but they can't keep them, or they can't be kept by them. That's why the Bible tells you not to don't envy unrighteous mammon, because it doesn't work in the end. And I'm a living witness to that. I'm a living witness because I lived it. I did the fornication thing. I did the sensuality, the whole crap, and I got the dude. It wasn't hard to get the dude. It wasn't hard for me to confiscate the one or to get the one that I wanted for me. It wasn't hard. But realistically speaking, it wasn't even about keeping them, right? Because you needed to do it. But the price that I paid in the end, the price I paid in Genesis, Revelation, Deuteronomy, Exodus, all throughout First Kings, Second Kings, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it in the end. All right, so let's get back into it. Lust has conjugal visits with you. Lust has conjugal visits with you. That means that you can be doing good for a minute, and then here comes lust. Here comes lust. All right. Let's talk about what it's doing in society, and then I'm gonna give you a little revelation, and I'm gonna let you guys go. Number one, we're talking about what promiscuity is doing in our society. Little girls define their worth by their bodies. Yes. According to the Bible, you're not supposed to marry somebody that's not of the same faith. That's being unequally yoked with unbelievers. Little girls define their worth by their bodies. This is what it's doing to society. You got a lot of little girls that are learning to pop, and they're doing all that stuff because they get some attention. And you got a lot of broken mothers out there, as a matter of fact. And you got broken mothers that be standing by their little girls and be like, come on, baby, pop, pop, pop. And you sitting there looking like, she like 8 years old. Why is she popping like that? Number two, grown women argue about men who want nothing but sex from them. Right. I've been with an ungodly man before, and I tell people this, behind closed doors, I'm talking about on the outskirts, they look good. Oh, they look good. They look good on paper. They look good on the outside. They look good. But baby, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. Number two, grown women argue about men who want nothing but sex from them. You got women fighting over men, women taking men from women. It's just an orgy. Can I keep it plain? Can I just keep it honest with you? What the world does is just an orgy. It's swapping demons like you're swapping saliva. If God was to create, and I've said this before, God was to create a huge bed, and he was to toss everybody on it that was in sexual immorality, what you will find is that they're all connected, or the most of them are connected. She's sleeping with him, and he slept with 44 women. And those 44 women in total have slept with 693 men. And those 693 men in total have slept with 12,000 women. And those 12, if you were to toss them on a bed, you will see everybody's connected. You will see everybody, because this is what sexual immorality does. It brings you into a pool. It is an orgy of sorts. It is an orgy of sorts, right? STDs have gone up nationally. It is an orgy of sorts. If I come across a man and he's trying to get down with me, and I'm telling him, no, I don't believe in sex before marriage. He has no self-control. Trust me, he's sleeping with somebody. Trust me, he has no self-control. He's sleeping with somebody. He can want me. He can desire me. He can even desire me for marriage, but you can bet your by God, wow, he'll be sleeping with somebody. And he'll be sleeping with somebody that's sleeping with somebody, or that has slept with several people. And if I took him, my abstinence would be for nothing. Because every demon and every issue that he took out of her, he'll transfer to me. Everything that she took out of the dude she slept with, she transferred to him. I'm not just talking about diseases and all that other stuff. Let's say they don't have a disease. Demons. There is a such thing as sexually transmitted demons. And so all of these demons, y'all, if the visual that I have is like, I can't even call it the big bed. It looks like a tarp. It looks like a big old, I don't know what to call it. I want to say a trampoline, but if you can see, you will see he could be sleeping with her and her only, but he's still connected to the men that she slept with, who are connected to the women that they slept with. It's just a big old connection. It's just all this big old, it's just a big old warfare thing. It's basically getting into Satan's sifter, where it's like he's making this big old meal. And this is what I see, like him doing this with people in the sifter. Like he's making this meal, right? And the prideful ones don't go through. The ones that fall through the cracks are the ones that are humble enough to realize, the ones who are humble enough to admit that they got an issue, they go for help. But the prideful ones, they don't go through it because they're like big old. The enemy sifts them. And the ones that he gets to keep, he gets to devour. And it doesn't mean he gets to kill them. In many cases, he will try. But what it means is that he gets to rob them. He gets to destroy their mental health. He gets to destroy so many things about their lives. Where will we? Number 2 is grown women argue about men who want nothing but sex for them. You got women that sit up there and they're on the internet talking about something. He want me. I seen a Christian woman talk about, because y'all men do want to have sex with us. And I'm just like, are y'all? Did y'all? Okay. Did y'all not go outside? When y'all were going to church, y'all didn't go outside. Y'all do know that ain't a flex. A man wanting to sleep with you. Okay, I'm gonna move to number 3. Yeah. A man wanting to sleep with you is not a flex. Okay, let me get this, because I gotta clean up this eyeliner because I'm gonna get a little too passionate. A man wanting to boinky you is not a flex. I'm saying I'm here. I'm still here because there's some of y'all on here that you're literally flattered because somebody want to sleep with you. That's not a flex. Oh, don't get quiet on me, because I'm gonna go in. I ain't gonna move fast. I ain't gonna move past. I'm gonna go in. A man wanting to stick his penis in you is not a flex at all. Because a lot of men, I won't say most, I will say a lot, a majority in the world, they'll stick their penis wherever, in any open hole. Sorry. It's not a flex. If a man tells me, I'll be thinking about, things I want to do to you, that's an insult. Because that says that you don't respect me and you have reduced me to those girls that you've been screwing with. That means you see me pretty low. I'm sorry. I'm going to give you some definitions. I'll be your auntie. I'll be the auntie that you don't like. I'm going to give you some definitions. That is him saying, I don't see you very highly. I see you as somebody that I can get off on without having any type of responsibility. I see you as a low individual. I don't see you as wife material. I don't see you as somebody that's deserving of respect. I'm gonna give it the language, and I don't care. Listen. I don't care if this thing clear out. I'm gonna talk. When somebody is trying to sleep with you, that's not a flex. That's an insult. When you're not married, that's not a flex. That's an insult. That's somebody saying, "I don't reverence you that high." It's your job, and I'm talking to the ladies. It is your job to make him respect you, because one thing that you want more than a man's love is his respect. I need the brothers in here to tell the ladies, because they ain't gonna listen. Some of them ain't gonna listen to me. The one thing that is better for you to get a man's respect than his love. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's better to get a man's respect. Why do you think they keep their boys away for a lifetime? It is better for a man to walk away from you and have respect for you than to stick with you and have no respect for you. Right. Men rarely view women like that as human. They view them as objects. Y'all, I'm telling you, y'all heard me say I'm the most proposed woman that I know. I'm not lying on that. Because regardless of what I did in the world, one thing I made sure I had was respect. I be wanting to say it, but they're gonna think I'm being arrogant, God. Okay. That's the reason I don't do a whole lot of dating now. I understand I'm a wife. And I understand that same dude that dumped you, if he got my phone number, he would propose. I ain't trying to be arrogant, but I'm saying men respect me. I'm saying men respect me. I'm saying that rarely do I get in contact with a guy that's not going to start talking marriage to me. Now, I'm not saying he the right one. I'm not saying he'll do right in marriage. I'm not saying he'll be a faithful man. If he ain't faithful to God, he won't be faithful to me. I'm saying it is better to get a man's respect than to get his love. A lot of ladies don't know that. I'm teaching you something. It's better to get his respect than his love. If you walk away from a man, you have his respect, he won't step to you the wrong way. Even if he wants you, he'll get himself together before he step to you. He'll go out here and be with a girl for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, blinking her down, and step to you and understand, I can't touch her, and will put a ring on your finger. Now, you need to take it off and throw it. If he ain't surrendered to God, it is. Y'all, I'm trying to move from this, but I'm staying here because I promise you there are women in here right now that they've never experienced it and they don't know what I'm talking about. And they looking like this. I got like 2 dudes calling my phone. They don't respect you. They don't respect you. You have the equivalent to them. You have the same value as a blow-up doll. You are a human spider. Somebody that wraps their leg, you wrap your legs around them or what have you. You give them what they want. They don't respect you. They don't respect you. You are but an orgasm. But he got mad because my ex called. Men are territorial creatures. Sorry, guys. I get passionate if you want to pull out these braids. Men are territorial creatures. A man being territorial over you doesn't mean that he wants you. It just means that he sees you as a piece of his property. I feel a wall. I feel a wall, and I know I'm coming against a mindset. I was going through a divorce. It was like 2006 or 7, one of them. And I had gotten a house phone. I got my mom's old cell phone, so he wouldn't have my number. And I had a restraining order. He had no way of contacting me whatsoever. 0 way of contacting me. 0. I did that intentionally. I didn't want to have any contact. One day I got internet service, and at that time you had to have like phone service or something. I don't remember what have you, but I ended up having to get a phone. I don't think you had to have phone service, but I ended up getting a phone. I think it came with the deal. I ended up getting a house phone. He was working for the phone company. My phone, I made sure I paid the $15 extra a month to make sure my line would be private. But I forgot that he worked for the phone company. I was on my cell phone with my friend one day, my best friend, my old best friend at the time. I'm on the phone with her and we're talking and laughing. And my house phone rings. Now, even her, my mom, nobody knew my house phone number. Not a single soul. I had no plans to use it. I had a cell phone. My house phone rings. Now, mind you, me and this guy's been broken up at this time for months. And he doesn't have access to me. I got a restraining order, all that. I see my phone ringing and it says private number on the ID. I'm on the phone with my friend girl, and I'm like, girl, who is this calling me from a blocked number? Girl, ain't nobody, who you gave number to? Nobody? She said, you know who that is. I picked up the phone. I said, girl, hold on right quick. I picked up the other phone. I wish I had my other cell phone over here so I could be dramatic, but I don't. I pick up this bottle. I picked up my other phone. I was like, hello? 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 So I hung up the phone. I'm teaching you a lesson here. I hung up the phone. I get on the phone. I said, girl. She said, you know who it is? I said, yeah. My famous saying back then was I can make a ghost speak. If you call playing on my phone, I can make you speak. I can say something to you that will cut you and you were going to speak. You gonna call me back. You gonna say something. Because I'm gonna go deep. I'm gonna go deep and dirty. So I said, girl, yeah, I know who that is. I said, he didn't got my phone number. He didn't went in the system, which he that's illegal. He didn't went in the system and got my phone number. I said, that's all right. I said, next time he called, I said, you know, I can make it go speak. She was like, Tiffany, what you? I said, no, you'll see. So I'm talking to her. My phone rings again. I pick it up. Hello? Hello? You're not saying anything. Hello? Hello? Okay, I'm show you what I did. Hello? Hey, baby, I'm back. Quit. I said, hey, baby, I'm back. I was on the phone with my friend girl. She laughed because she knew what I was doing. Because I knew he still had that territorial. Did it mean he loved me? No. 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 I knew what I was doing. I knew that he still felt like I was his possession. So I wanted the ghost to speak. I got back on the phone. She was like, you wrong for that. She's like, you wrong for that. I'm gonna show you because you wrong for that. I said, girl, I told you. You playing with me. And we talking, phone started ringing again. I said, hold on, the ghost is ready to speak. Hello? 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 Tiffany. Hey, it's Tyrone. I just reaching out because you got mail. I got mail. I was just reaching out. Was that the evidence of love? Was that the evidence of unyielding, undying love? A love that reached past the mistress into the hands of time, into my household. Was that love? That was territorialism. It wasn't love. See, some of you like to love bomb yourself and tell yourself that was love. I told myself the truth. That's a Negro that think I belong to him. I told myself the truth. How you gonna be laying there next to somebody, pink pink probably still drying off and crusting and dried up on your leg, and you got the audacity to be trying to monitor what I'm doing and monitor. I would talk myself into getting mad. Sorry. What is doing in society? We were on number 2 and we got stuck there because I got passionate. Grown women argue about men who want nothing but sex from them. Women are sitting there getting flattered. Women are sitting there feeling like Girl, he was talking about me. I'm gonna go get a BBL. Why? Why? Why do you want somebody to be sexually attracted to you? How is it that you're trying to sexually appeal to a man, but you want to be a wife at the same time? Those two don't go hand in hand. You're trying because you are under this lie. It's deception. Remember, Satan's father of lies. You're under this lie that if I have a smaller waistline and a bigger butt, I'll get a husband. No, you'll get a sex partner. You'll get a sex partner. You'll get somebody that wanna smack it up, flip it, and rub it down, as Belle Biv DeVoe used to say. He'll get somebody that wanna do you baby, but at the end of the day, he won't see you as a wife. A man can screw you and not want to be married to you. A man can screw you and have kids with you and not even want to be connected to you for the rest of his life. A lot of ladies don't know that. Trust me, there are a lot of women that are going to watch this even 5 years from now, 10 years from now. They need to hear this. Stop confusing a man being sexually attracted to you to a man being attracted to you. It is always better to get a man's respect. You will find more flat booty women that are married than big booty women. Trust me when I tell you that, because that stuff don't matter to a man. While the visual is a bonus, whenever a man is ready to settle down, men typically settle down. I'm talking about sane men. They typically settle down with women, get this, that they feel safe with. They typically settle down with women they feel safe with. Sorry. They don't settle down with the biggest booty or the prettiest girl. When I got with my ex, he had pictures of I used to go to his mom's house to visit. Pictures of his ex. His mother had pictures of his exes on the wall. Dude had dimes. They were gorgeous. Gorgeous. Beautiful. Fine. That didn't change a thing. It didn't get them a ring. It didn't get them nothing. That stuff that I gotta move on. The stuff that is primary to you is not even secondary to a dude. The stuff that you've been taught by Hollywood, it's a lie from the pit of hell. It's a lie from the armpit of hell. It's the lie from the butt crack of hell, from underneath the toes of hell, from the toe crust of hell. Whenever you're dealing with a sane man that wants to be married, that wants to honor his wife, all of the stuff that you make relevant is irrelevant. The stuff that you make relevant, that the world makes relevant, I'm going to go to Mexico and risk my life to get a BBL, take the fat out of my stomach and put it in my derriere so that when I walk by a man, I can get his respect. You won't get his respect, you'll get his attention. And he'll walk up to you, done. All of that stuff. And the whole time, he's not thinking about getting to know you. He's thinking about what you look like with your clothes off. He's thinking about what he wants to do with you. He's listening to your voice. Oh, you sound like you a squeal real good. All of that stuff. Those are not the type of men you want to attract. See, when I was in the world, I understood. When I was in the world, and I'm moving on to number 3 behind this one. When I was in the world, I understood that there were certain dudes I just did not want to attract. And I would be mean to them. Because I didn't want them looking my way. And they looked my way, I got annoyed. There were certain guys, thought boys, y'all call them F boys these days. I didn't want them looking at me. I didn't want the dude walking around that was so arrogant, running around thinking that women owe him something. Because those type of dudes, they the ones those are homosexuals. Those are the ones that come into a lady's house and sleep on her couch. And, or sleep in her bed and ain't paying no bills. Come on, baby, mama. What you gonna do, mama? Mama, don't treat me like that tonight. Don't make me sleep on the couch tonight, mama. Ain't put a bill in. The only thing he got in that house is a penis and a plan. He's sitting up there just taking advantage of that girl left and right while she out there working 1 and 2 jobs, and he over there riding that donkey. And then when she go to work, oh, trust me, I got them type of dudes in my family. When she go to work, he got women all up and through her house. When she go to work, he riding other donkeys. And when he get done doing what he was doing with them, he called her on her way home from work. Hey, you would grab me a bite to eat on your way home. Yeah, cheeseburger, large fry. Then he rewarded when she come home by slapping her on the butt and telling her, um, he is eating fire. You gonna get it tonight. I'm gonna be that auntie you don't like. I'll be the auntie you love, but the auntie you don't like. Either way, I'm gonna get this truth into your head. I'm gonna get it to you. Number 3, what is doing to society? And we're talking about sexual immorality. What is sexual immorality doing to society? Y'all, it's gonna get offensive. Men are now demanding their wives and girlfriends to pay 50% of the bills. I told you it's gonna get ugly up in here. Men don't want to men no more because they don't have to, because you got too many desperate women out there. We're living in a, what is that scripture? It said in the last days. Okay, let me pull it up because I want to be able to read it word for word so y'all don't say I said it. Only, excuse me, let us be called by thy name. I can just pull it up from there. Isaiah 4:1. Turn with me. We are in the last days. Isaiah 4:1. Isaiah 4:1. How many women are there to a man today? Hold up, let me look that up. Give me a second. I love y'all. Why am I so close up to this? Uh-oh. How many women are there to a man? I should say ratio. There have been constantly more men than women. Okay. Of 7.5 billion, not 7.95 billion people live in the earth. In 2022, 4 billion were men and 3. Okay, there are more men than there are women. All right. The enemy balances it out, I guess. All right. We're in Isaiah 4:1. Now we're going to go to King James. We're going to go to the these and the thous. And this is talking about the last days. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Tell me we ain't already here. Tell me that we're not already here. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, I buy my own food. I get my own clothes. I'll take care of myself. Just marry me. Let me have your last name so my shame will go away. I read it again. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. You do know that not just traditionally, but biblically, the man was a provider. The woman was a helper. She's the one lazy. Go read Proverbs 31. She was actually pretty busy. She was an entrepreneur. Nowadays, what you see people argue. I saw this on YouTube. Yesterday. I saw a snippet of a video. These men was passionate in their studio about what the woman brings to the table. 50-50. And I'm sitting there looking like, we're here. We're here. And let me tell you what 50-50 looks like. 50-50 is never 50-50 when you talk about it. Never. Because typically the man is going to make more than a woman. Black women are starting to make more than black men nowadays. But in most cases, but they're working. Let's just say 50-50 to a guy who is feminine at heart, but masculine on the exterior. It looks like you working an 8-hour job, 40 hours a week, just like him, but you coming home and being traditional. It looks like you out there working your tail off, and then you come home and you pick up that broom, and you sweep and you cook and you clean, and you help the children with their homework, and you make sure that they take their baths, and then you go in the bedroom and you take care of him. He gets to relax when he comes home. You don't. He gets weekends off. You don't. That is a feminine man. Now, for any guys that may say, Sister Tiffany, I was loving you all the way up to this point. If you understood the biblical model, I'm telling you right now, it's far better than the model that people are trying to do right now. A woman that's helped me actually gives more than what you can calculate. So marriage looks like friendship. In friendship, I'm going to give to, I have a friend, and for a season, I'm pouring into her. I may be pouring into her 3 months, 6 months, whatever. I'm there. I'm her friend. She needs me in that season. So it doesn't look balanced, right? Because in one season, she needs me. One season, I'm there for her. I'm showing up, and she ain't showing up for me. She ain't there for me. At some point, I'm going to need her. At some point, there's going to be something I need, and she's going to show up for me. And we'll see the balance in that, because it's not a 50-50 thing. Life can never be about that, because that's when it becomes performative. That's when you start talking about where's your other end. No, that's not how it works. When you're married, any guy that listens to this, I'm telling you to bless you. When you're married, you just live. You live together. You understand, hey, I'm going to provide. I'm going to do this. You take on that. But if you got a good, godly woman, trust me, she's pulling her weight, way more than her weight. She's pulling her weight. And I'm not talking about running in, paying the bills. She can pay bills and what have you, but she'll have your back. You'll have more money when you understand that model than that 50-50 girly model, that the weird model. A dude come to me talking about some 50-50, he won't even have a chance. I'd be like, there go a little girl over there. Look at her. She real pretty. She light skinned and everything. She got a small waist and a big butt. You will like her. Go over there. Look at her. Look at her. She like Mickey Mouse, like Minnie Mouse. Look at her. I'm telling you right now, go choose her. Don't choose me, choose her. Girl, you winning over there. You know why? Because that's not a man who thinks with the heart of God. God understands that he's God. And so God does not try to equivalent, or he doesn't try to make you equivalent to him. God understands that if he lords himself and you understand his lordship and you're loving him, you're going to give. But your giving won't be equal to his. But you're still going to give. A man who understands his role as a husband will get far more than a man who says 50%. Can nobody on the face of this planet tell me that I'm lying? Grandma and grandfather back in the day, I'm talking about the decent ones. He got far more out of grandmother. Grandma wasn't working. Grandma took care of that house, and grandma took care of granddaddy. She took care of them kids. She took care of everything that she needed to do. Now, I'm not promoting the traditional model. You may be out working. Your wife may be working. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you start putting numbers on stuff, talking about 50-50, instead of just saying, let me be the provider and let me let her fall in however she may, I'll say this. I said this when I was married, and I'm going to move from here. We argued at one point because I was trying to get in. I was an entrepreneur, but I was new to the game. And I literally said to him, because I knew this in my heart, I said, cover me. Literally, I said those words to him. I said, cover me. I said, cover me, and I'll make you a millionaire. Cover me, and you'll be rich. In other words, take care of the bills. Don't be putting no pressure on me about this. Let me build this business that God gave me. What Tabitha Brown did, and I love her marriage. I love what God did with Tabitha Brown and her husband. She said, cover me. He covered her. Now look at them. Sorry. He covered her. And now there's no 50-50 model in the house. The money that's just coming in, it belongs to them. It ain't hers. She doesn't think like that. She thinks like it. She thinks like a kingdom woman. It's theirs, but it looked like him covering her, him letting people talk and say all that crazy stuff, him covering her while she did. I tell you the truth, if a woman ever figure out who she is, if a woman ever steps into her Proverbs 31 state, if a woman ever has a man to fully cover her and allow her to do that, and she loves and respects him, I'm sorry. I genuinely believe this with my heart. A woman who knows who she is, that pursues the heart of God, will turn will bring $1 million into her house at some point. I believe that. I believe that she'll bring it in. She'll bring it in. And not only will she bring it in, when you have a good woman, she doesn't say my money. She doesn't think like that. Okay. All right. Y'all staring at me. Y'all staring at me. She doesn't believe that. Because in her mind, the way she sees it is, you got my back, I got yours. We in this together. It's a we. But when you got somebody talking about 50-50, that's some. Okay, that was number 3. What is doing to society? We're talking about sexual immorality. What is doing to society? Number 4, there are more girlfriends than wives. There are more boyfriend and girlfriends than husband and wives. It's creating a culture in our society that's being normalized, which opens up the door for all of these attacks that you. There are more girlfriends than wives, more boyfriends than husbands. That's what's being normalized. I'm not going to stay there. Number 5, countless children are being born into one-parent households. You do know that's you have to bring it from the Bible, otherwise people say, Sister Tiffany, give me a second. All right. Malachi 4:6. Some of y'all knew where I was going. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to the fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. That is a curse. Fatherlessness is a curse. And when it moves through generations, it turns into a generational curse. That is the price of fornication. It sets the stage for a generational curse. It sets the stage for even more promiscuity. It sets the stage for the children to be promiscuous, and it sets the stage for a generational curse. There are more girlfriends than wives, more boyfriends than husbands, and countless children are being born into one-parent households. Fatherlessness has become a plague. It is a plague. And the crazy thing is, it's become so normalized, but we don't even think it's anything wrong with it. You got women that would intentionally keep the father away from the children just because he don't want to be with them no more. You don't want to be with me? You can't see these kids. Don't care about what type of curse that's bringing. Don't care about the spirit of rejection that's coming on those kids. Don't care. All they care about is how they feel. That is a curse. Number 6, America is on its way to becoming a third world nation. If we keep up at this rate, America is well on its way to becoming a third world nation. Because right now what we have is we got a lot of people that don't want to work. Our economic system is in a really horrible place. America is, I don't know how many trillions of dollars in debt. We're well on our way to becoming a third world nation. Number 7, the respect and reverence for elders and people in authority has diminished. That's what fornication does. That's what promiscuity does. Sexual immorality does. It makes you not respect authority because you give birth to children when you're not old enough to understand authority, so you never teach it to them. And they walk around putting their mouths on authority figures. You got too many people nowadays, they're not afraid to put their mouth on a leader. That blows my mind. Because when we were growing up, we had to respect authority. That blows my mind that we have a generation of people that are genuinely not, I'm talking about, will try to tell a leader how to be the leader, and they ain't never been a leader a day in their lives. And have no fear of consequence, no fear of what God will do, no fear, because they don't think, people nowadays think that if I believe I'm right, then God says I'm right. There's a way that seems right to a man, but the end thereof is death. There's safety in the multitude of counselors. Got too many people with no accountability. They got a mouth, but they ain't got no ears to hear. Big mouth, whole lot to say, but they ain't got no accountability. They ain't got nobody that they can turn to and say, hey, this is what I feel. They just say what they want to say. And then whenever something hits them, they're like, I don't know why I'm going through this. The devil's attacking. No, that's you reaping. You're reaping. Because nobody ever taught you to just be quiet for what you don't understand and pray. Nobody ever taught you to just move on, to keep scrolling. Nobody ever taught you that. And so you keep doing so, you keep offending with your mouth, and you wonder why you keep going through the stuff that you're going through. You keep opening your mouth because somehow, so what fatherlessness does. You're walking around this earth thinking that it's okay. I can say what I want to say. If I believe it, then that gives me the legal right to say it. It gives the devil legal right to see it. Right? There is no fear of God. There is no understanding of hierarchy, authority, none of that. People just say what they want to say nowadays. Because, and that's why I say when I leave, when I get older, I don't want to get old in this country. Because in America, the way Americans disrespect their authority figures, their leaders, even with this defund the police foolishness, America, America needs healing. America wants to attack everybody in leadership. Honestly, Americans want to attack any position of authority they see, and they want to take over. This is what happens when you turn around and tell the whole planet, when you tell an entire country that your opinion matters. While it does matter and it can have a little bit of weight, there's too many opinions for me to make yours big, and there's too many people, and so you can't turn around. Sorry, I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not gonna get into that because I get into politics and I get passionate. America has a tendency to break people and then give them a microphone. Say that out loud. America has a tendency to oppress and break people, and not understanding that broken people do broken things. They break things, and then America turns around and gives them a voice. Then America wonder why it's lopsided and lopsided. But the respect and reverence for elders and people in authority has diminished. Number 8, men now want men and women want women. This is what sexual immorality is doing in our nation. Men now want men. Now, it may not be as bad as I see it is because I live in Georgia. It's becoming normal. It's becoming so normal that a lot of people that even Christians are afraid to speak against it because they don't want to be attacked. It's self-preservation. Wow, you can sit back and I see all sexual immorality the same. You in fornication, you can't puff up your chest and say that's right because you still in the same boat. At the end of the day, God doesn't make mistakes. Yeah, the A will have Atlanta will have you feeling like I don't man. I don't see how women out here dating. I don't see how women mass date out here. They're dating this dude and dating this dude and dating. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't want to get it. They got it. They got it. They can keep it. Number 8. Well, number 9. Now men have a bride price. Nowadays, because of sexual immorality, back in the biblical days, the women had a bride price and the man had to put a lot of effort in to get with a woman. He had to put a lot of effort in. Now, you got guys coming online and they doing this right here, you know what I'm saying? They thirst trapping. The script has been flipped. Okay. You got men out here talking about what you need to get with them. It wasn't always like that. You know what I'm saying? Tatted up chest. And you got women out here throwing themselves at men. Sorry. I needed a moment. You got guys out here thirst trapping women, and women out here don't know who they are, don't know what they're supposed to be doing, and they on the internet like this. Boy. Like, I follow. They thirst trapping out the dudes. I'm not saying that you can't find a man handsome. I'm not saying that. When I was in the world, I went to strip shows, and that was for entertainment only. That was not the dude that you took home or wanted to marry. That was just for entertainment purposes. You didn't sleep with that dude. You didn't fool with that dude. You paid your money to go on a strip show. You had a good time. You went home and you told some people about it. Nowadays, you got women fighting over men who don't want to be men. You got women fighting over men who want to sit there in a house and be taken care of. And the only thing they want to do is sit there and lick their lips. Okay. Maybe my eyes are red for that reason today. Maybe inwardly I'm grieving. Maybe that's what it is. That was number 9. We almost done. Now men have a bride price. They're telling you what it takes to be with them, what it takes to keep them. You post something up. I've had men to say this to me, like I may make a comment on a post, and they'll be like, "Well, that's why you ain't got a man." And I'm like, "Y'all, can somebody tell me this? I need somebody to tell me this, please." Just I don't know, because I don't go outside a lot, and I haven't really dated for 9 years. I've talked to dudes on the phone, but officially dated, I haven't dated. I'm kind of out the loop. So is it a flex to have a man? I'm genuinely wanting to know. Is it like if you don't have a man, that's bad? Please, somebody tell me before my eyes turn white. That's why you ain't got a man. Ain't nobody telling me. Yeah, not these dusties. I'm genuinely curious. So you're telling me that me having peace, the peace of God that surpasses all understanding, most of all, me having an intimate relationship with God without distractions, me having several successful businesses, me not being cheated on, me not being hit on, me not being gaslit or manipulated. I'm not saying all men do that, because I know there's some good godly men out there, but okay, maybe it's me. Maybe am I relationally delayed? Guess we'll never know. I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. Y'all are looking at a person that don't get it. I'm trying to get it past my forehead, but it won't go. I'm trying to figure out, is being single a bad thing? I think a lot of people promote the idea, and a lot of women have come to believe it. A lot of men promote it, a lot of women promote it, that it's a bad thing to be single. Because I've seen that more than anything. I've seen it on TikTok where you got guys out there. That's why a lot of y'all think. That's why you had dudes like Kevin Samuels coming out there talking about high value men. Okay. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I need to go outside. I don't get it. I don't get it. I genuinely don't. I don't get it because men are not easy. I mean, men are not hard to get. I don't care if you look like Rasputia. Men are not hard to get. At the same time, I think it's become a foreign thing for a woman to have standards. I don't think it. And yeah, for those of you are helping this culture to be normalized, man. Why? For you to sit there and allow that thing to start to crystallize, where you're teaching guys that they're the prize and that you are so old lucky to have them. Okay, okay, I'm gonna leave from there. I'm gonna leave from there because I think my confusion is is on my face. Right, men are put out by standards, and I love it. I love it because I. It's not to say I don't look forward to marriage, but I don't want to marry. I don't want to marry the wrong guy. I don't want a dusty, as y'all call them. I don't want somebody. I don't want somebody for the sake of having a man. I'm just not there, and I don't ever want to be there. I don't get it. I don't get it, and I think I'm not trying to get it. And I'm not. I don't want to get it. I think because I'm so content and happy with God. And I think a lot of women haven't gotten to that space yet. And that's why it makes it so weird to me. And trust me, there are women on here right now they're looking at me like this because they're not there. They can't relate to where I am because they haven't given God their full heart. They haven't given God their full yes. So I'm not getting it. I can look at a man and say he's cute, he's handsome, and all of that. But all of that rolling around and trying to be seductive and stuff, that's for the strip show entertainment. It's just entertainment. If I'm scrolling TikTok and some man is rolling around, I'm gonna do this right here, literally, because you may catch me 3.35 seconds, me 3.35 seconds, right? You may catch me like, hmm. I'm gonna scroll because there's nothing in me that says I want him. There's nothing in me that says I want him for a lifetime partner. There's nothing in me. I can acknowledge that he's cute and that's it. I've learned to separate entertainment from life. Why they always? I'm trying to figure out why they always chewing gum. I think. Can I tell you the truth? I think a lot of times they chewing gum. The one that chews gum a lot. The ones that got dimples, and they keep trying to make their dimples show up. They keep trying to make their dimples show up. So they don't want to just be on camera constantly smiling. So they'll make that dimple come in. Make that dimple. Why they always turn that side of the face where the dimple shows up at. All right, let's move on. We were now men have a bride price. Now men have a bride price. Number 10, got two more after that, and then we're gonna go. Unsevered soul ties destroy more marriages than anything. Unsevered, y'all, if you want to be married, hear this out. Unsevered, you want to know why the divorce rates are high? Unsevered soul ties. How do you know, Tiffany? Glad you asked. I told y'all that story. That ex that reached out to me some years ago. And I used to date him when I was 18 years old. And I'll never forget the words he said to me. Um, he was going through a divorce, had been married to his wife for 20 years. And he said, I never stopped thinking about you. That's an unsevered soul tie. How you married to somebody, she don't have your heart. She don't have the fullness of your heart. You're thinking about other women. And plus, and trust me, I wasn't in the least bit flattered. I wasn't sitting up there like, OMG. I was like, that's crazy. You got another female on your mind? That's a soul tie. I come to realize a lot of men, I would dare to say this, a large majority of men go into marriage with soul ties. Because men don't get messages like these too much. They don't know the significance of destroying ungodly soul ties. Women put in the effort and the work or what have you. A lot of times men they don't. They don't think they have soul ties. A lot of them not necessarily into that the soul tie belief or what have you. They go into a marriage and they say, ain't nobody, because we define it. Whereas as a female, we can feel the pull because we're the weaker vessel. We can feel it, right? We can feel the pressure. We feel the temptation. Whenever we have a soul tie, we'll feel the temptation to go look up somebody in the middle of the night. For the man, on the other hand, he can feel the temptation, but it's not necessarily a pull, it's a desire. So for him, for us, it's kind of like if we got a soul tie, if we up at 4 in the morning ain't doing nothing, Tyrone might pop up on our mind and we just like, I ain't doing it. And then we keep getting pulled. For a guy, on the other hand, it's wait in the middle of the night. I remember when Nancy used to come around here. She used to come over at 3 in the morning. I wonder what she up to now. Most men, they think they're willies. That's funny. Unsevered soul ties destroy more marriages. Believe me when I tell you, whenever a man does not deal with his soul ties, those soul ties will come up. And those soul ties can materialize themselves in many ways. Hear me, whenever you're dealing with a soul tie doesn't necessarily drag you back to the same person, it drags you to the same spirit. It doesn't always attract you to the same person, it will attract you to the same spirit in a person. So he could be laying next to you, go to work. Let's say, for example, a dude has a soul tie with me, right? And we're no longer together, what have you. He go out there, he's dating somebody else, but he got a soul tie with me. Or let's say he's married to somebody else, he had a soul tie with me. Doesn't mean I got a soul tie with him, but let's say he's still soul tied with me. He go out there and he meet another woman, and she look like me to him, and she remind him of me. He'll be attracted to her. That's how soul ties work. Soul ties, he may not have access to me, but he could be married, but he'll meet another girl that reminds him a lot of me. He'll be like, you remind me of somebody I know. Who? What's your name? My name is Nancy. Oh, you know Tiffany? Tiffany who? Buckner. Can't say that I do. You look a lot like her to me. Oh, okay. Who is she to you? She. It's not important. You got a man? The attraction never got addressed. Every soul tie before you get married that's established in Eros, it needs to be severed. Because if it's not severed, then your wife gonna have company or your man gonna have company. They're gonna have company, and it's hard for them to have the fullness of your heart when they got company. And people can sense quite naturally the presence of other human beings. This is why pillow talk came in. Pillow talk. Get on the couch. Up. Nobody dog is weird. Up. Yeah, the cover. I'm sorry. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. He's wondering where the cover is in the wash machine. I just remember. Yeah, I'm sorry. Don't put no holes on my leather couch. Them claws. What was I talking about? Well, I was interrupted by that little fluffy one over there. Oh yeah. He will see Nancy and be like, I'll call you sometime. Then every time if he go out with her or what have you, he'll be like, I'm just saying, it's hard for me to believe that you don't know Tiffany. You eat like her, you talk like her. When you look at me, you look at me the way she used to look at me. Oh, pillow talk. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, pillow talk. People can sense a soul tie. So this is how pillow talk was established, I believe. Um, because I've been married, so I know pillow talk all too well. And pillow talk a lot of times is a dude prying, just prying for information. It starts off cute, but it ends ugly. It just prying for information, just prying. So would you say I was the best? 'Cause a lot of pillow talk happens before sex and after sex. A lot of it after, if he ain't knocked out. Would you say I was the best man you ever been with? You asking that? Why we talking about who? I'm here with you. I got your last name. Why we talking about who I've been with? I mean, just ask. Just entertain. Just yeah. Because I already been taught since I was a little girl that you are a dude. You have a fragile ego, and if I say anything otherwise, it will be hell to pay. You the best. The whole best, the whole wide best. Okay, you the best. No, don't just be telling me. No, for real. I'm so serious. And sometimes you could think that, but what I'm saying is that he'll start prying because he can sense the presence of another dude whenever you have a soul tie. He can sense the presence of another dude. So, what about, like, let's say foreplay? Would you say, like, if you was to compare me to somebody, who would you say? I know you're gonna tell me I'm the best. Something in my eye. I know you're gonna tell me I'm the best, but who would you say came close second? He's trying to find out who the soul tie, who he got a soul tie with. Crying and then crying, right? Crying and then crying. Who else you got a soul tie with? Because I sent somebody. We do it as well. We ask a lot of questions during pillow talk because we're trying to figure out. I sense there being more of you, but I feel like there's a piece of you I don't have access to. I feel like there's something to you. Sorry, contact is really acting up. But I feel like there's a piece to you. Oh gosh, I got something on my eye. Oh yeah, that was horrible. I feel like there's a piece to you that I don't necessarily have access to. There is something about you that I don't necessarily have access to. That's what it is. Unsevered soul ties destroy more marriages than anything. At some point, people get frustrated with the fact that they can't really fully have you. You can be married to a person for 25 years and not fully have them, not fully have their heart, what have you. It becomes frustrating after a while. And we got to move on to number 11. Not too many people respect the sanctity of marriage. This is the product of sexual immorality behind the earth. Not too many people respect the sanctity of marriage. You have a lot of women, ladies, because some of you right now you need to be delivered from the spirit of adultery, and you know it because you still have crushes on husbands. You need to be delivered from the spirit of adultery because you still got men that are married that you're crushing on, and you may try to be cordial or you may try to do the right thing, but deep down in your heart, you're sitting there monitoring, acting as a monitoring spirit. You know how I know that? Because I've counseled so many of you. You allow the enemy to turn you into a side chick. And not just a side chick that's dating a guy, because maybe you don't have access to him, but a side chick that's lying in wait. Rather than interceding for people to stay married, rather than interceding for people's marriage to be stronger, and it's for God to do a mighty work in their marriage, you're sitting there waiting on them to fall apart. Right, and coveting I tell people this all the time. Let me say this when it comes down to marriage. I don't know if you know this. One, you should always treat marriage, somebody else's marriage, the way you want people to treat your marriage. This is your seed, right? Number one. Number two, you should always respect, like as a female, respect another woman. Respect what she got going. Put yourself in her shoes. Number three, once a woman has put her fingerprint, her scent on a man, that man is almost unrecoverable. You don't want to put, okay, let me say this. He can be recovered. It takes years for a man or a person to be delivered from another spirit. When you become one, when two people become one, when two people are sleeping together, they're putting their scent on each other. And when I say scent, I'm not talking about just a scent that you can smell. I'm talking about their ways. They're merging. Women teach men how to be their husbands. Okay, let me get some water. I feel like one of y'all trying to choke me through the computer. It's just a joke. I do got a cough coming on. A woman, even if she's not married to a man, will teach a man how to be her husband. You have a job of chasing God with all of your heart, mind, and strength. You got to learn how to be yourself. And you got to learn what you need. If you get with a man, I don't know who needs to hear this. If you get with a man and he like 30 days or a year outside of a divorce, he has another woman's scent. He has another woman's spirit. Everything he's bringing with him comes from her. So it's not going to be you and him. It's going to be you, him, and her. Because he's going to bring that with him. He's going to bring that with him. The trauma, the culture that they had together. There's a lot of things. Why? Because God did not design us to divorce. God didn't design us to divorce. He's going to bring her with him. All of the things, like if she took on the job, let's say that she was the mama to him. She sat up there, she took on a job of working two jobs, taking the house, keeping the house clean, fussing at him all the time. And that's why she divorced him, because she felt like she was his mother. If she took on her responsibility, when he goes out looking, he needs to go look for God. He needs to look for healing. He needs to go and put himself at the feet of Jesus and get his healing, get his deliverance, and allow God to take him on a journey with him. If he doesn't do that, he's going to go looking for her and another woman. He's going to go looking for her and another woman. He's going to look for what he could not find in her, in you. Because he'll say in his head, she was nearly perfect. She was pretty good. She just wouldn't stop complaining. She just wouldn't stop complaining. So he'll tell himself that he wasn't the problem. He'll tell himself that she was the problem. And now that he's looking for somebody else that would be willing to work 2 and 3 jobs, take care of the house, take care of the laundry and everything else that needs to be taken care of, while he lays on the couch or he works just a part-time job or maybe even a full-time job. He's looking for somebody like that would do it without complaining. That's why you have to sit back. Whenever you are starting to talk to a man or a woman, you got to find out what spirit is coming with them. I'm not talking about a demon. You want to know what demon is coming with them as well. But you need to see the soul tie. You need to look for the soul tie. That means talk, pray, and wait. Talk, pray, and wait. I need to see whose name keeps coming up in conversation, who your mama keep talking about, who your siblings keep talking about, who you mad at, because that's the person that you're going to bring with you. That's why it's not good. And I know it's rare, but it's not good to date a man who's fresh out of a relationship. He needs some distance and time between that. But unfortunately, a large majority of men don't give themselves space to heal. He needs space to heal. A lot of guys don't get that. They just come out, which is why a lot of them don't take accountability. At least a year. He needs time to heal. If he doesn't, he comes right out that relationship and he goes right back into the same old. He comes right out that relationship, and I'll say this: my ex and I broke up, and we have been broken up for we have been broken up for a minute, but not too long. Because when I got married, I jumped out of one marriage straight into another. That's how silly I was. But the first one, I ended up talking to him when I was married. I talked to him one day when I went to Mississippi. Got mad at my ex, the man I was with at the time, and got mad at my mom because it was a Sunday, and I had a little religion in me, I guess. But it was a Sunday. I come home from church. I'm happy. I'm telling them about the move of God and all this great stuff happened at church. And my mom was playing blues. And I was like, Mom, this Sunday, don't play blues on a Sunday. And she didn't want to listen to that. And she started making fun of me. And my mom started trying to twerk on me. My ex grabbed me and what have you. I'm telling him, stop. I got really mad. Because he got behind me and literally locked my arms up while my mom twerked on me. And I'm telling them to stop. And both of them, and I got so mad that I broke loose. I shoved him and I stormed out the door. I stormed my happy behind out the door. My little sister come pulling up behind me. I walked for probably about 30 minutes to an hour, probably 30 minutes before my sister found me. She pulls up in her car. She was like, get in. And she's like, girl, get in. I get in the car. She's like, I don't even know why you let these people get to you like that. So she was like, oh yeah. And I'll call my ex. I'll call the first dude, Jacob. She says, Jacob, I've been talking to Jacob. I said, for what? She said, I mean, we talk, he just be asking me a lot of questions about you and all that. And I was like, okay. And she said, yeah, I told him you were coming into town. Matter of fact, I just talked to him today. He want to talk to you. I said, what? She said, yeah, I told him I was going to go pick you up and I can put you in the car. And then you could talk to him. And I got on the phone. I talked to him. He was like, don't let what happened between us, ruin your relationship, all this stuff. He told me, he said, I found somebody as well. He said, she's as closest to you that I could find. I said, what? She's the closest to you that I could find. I said, why are you looking for me? He said, she's the closest to you that I can find. She reminds me a lot of you. And I told him, I said, well, do right by her. He said, I will. I said, that includes not contacting me. Of course, I went home, told the man I was married to that I just got a phone because I was trying to do everything the right way. I'm saying that to say, whenever you're dealing with soul ties, especially when a man has done wrong, he comes into a relationship with all of that baggage. He's going to come in with all of those soul ties. All right. Number 10 was unsevered soul ties destroy more marriages than anything. Number 11, not too many people respect the sanctity of marriage. I think that's where we were. Not too many people respect the sanctity of marriage. You have a lot of women out there that will happily mess with a married man. You have a lot of men out there that will happily mess with a married woman, mess with a married woman. But not too many people respect the sanctity of marriage these days. This is the product of sexual immorality, because once sexual immorality is normalized, then you have people that ordinarily that you didn't see because they were kind of in the cut in the darkness and stuff like that on the corners. All of a sudden, you start seeing that culture starts to spread or what have you. So now prostitutes are being squeezed out of a job by normal women and men. People that are just sexually immoral, period, point blank. Men don't have to go to the corner anymore. Women don't have to go to the corner anymore. And I was just saying that because I don't think women pay for sex. They don't have to go to the corner anymore. They just got to go to the club. Sometimes they got to go to the corner. They can just come to church. And they know how to find you. If you're dealing with sexual immorality, they know how to find you because it's always in your eyes. It's always in your eyes. And it shows up in the way you look, the way you present yourself. It shows up. They know how to find you. And in your conversation, the way you start lowering your voice and articulating your words and dragging your words. Sorry. I'll move on to the last one. This is the product. What happens when sexual immorality takes over a society. Demons spread faster than diseases. I want you to understand that bodies are demonic real estate. That's how devils see you as real estate. They see humans as real estate. The real estate market in the spiritual world is booming right now because you got a lot of people out there that don't care nothing about themselves, don't care anything about presenting their bodies a living sacrifice, don't care anything about God. You got too many people out there that are just sleeping around. You got people out there like literally. I've seen women on TikTok, and I know they're in the world, a lot of them in the world, but it still blows my mind. Even when I was in the world, I hung around women that were not so moral, but there are levels to morality. And I just remember one of my friends. I remember one friend, a girl I was really close to. She had her own friends. We went out with her friends one day, and one of the friends had a boyfriend, living boyfriend, a kid with the dude, the whole nine. And I never forget that girl looked and said she's going to go to the club so she can get. Literally, she didn't want to. She wasn't trying to marry nobody. She had a dude at home, but she wanted a brand new penis. I remember having an old friend, hadn't seen her in years, said the same thing. I'm gonna go to the club. Right? They won't work husbands. It still baffles me to this day. I was baffled then because I was a thought, but I wasn't that type of thought. I at least needed to have, some time behind us getting to know each other, and I had to be your girl. But to walk up into a random club and say, "Come do me," scrolling TikTok, listening to some of these ladies speak, and I know it's the world. It's baffling to me. I met this guy on Tuesday, and we hit it off so well. He was so cute and so nice, and I went to his room with him. We got a room that night, and we stayed the entire weekend. It was amazing, and I'm like, you just met that dude. You just met that dude, and you're proudly bragging that you went straight home with him, and you let him. And women try to hide their shames by saying, "I didn't let him hit it. He let me hit it." But he ain't the one crying when it ends. He ain't the one crying narcissist when it ends. It's you. You can't handle that. I don't know why women think they can handle that. I'm a strong woman by the grace of God. I can't handle that. A male friend of mine told me women are much. He asked a woman how she was doing, and her response was ready to get naked. I would say I'm not surprised, but I am surprised, both at the same time. What I see on the internet. That's the reason why I don't want no dude that is just out there and free. Just no self control. Because to me, he got too many connections, too many soul ties. It's too much connected to him. Demons are spreading faster than disease. There's a such thing as sexually transmitted demons. Now, let me just say this. I'm going to wrap it up. You say, Sister Tiffany, I haven't committed my body to God. I'm going to be honest with you. I want to be abstinent, but I really don't think I can. I tried it a couple of times. It never worked. My admonishment to you is this: a few things. If God can do it for me, He can do it for you. I was a sex addict. I was addicted to sex, which is why I had a splack and belly for several years. Right? I was addicted to sex. When I got married, I still had that addiction. I was a better person. I would definitely say that. But when I got married, I still had that addiction, which is why I was the one always, hey, don't you tell me no. What you talking about? No, tied what? Negro out them clothes. Because I associated sex with love. If God can deliver me, he can deliver you. And when I say deliver, I'm not talking about this half-hearted deliverance where people are still at home playing with themselves. I'm not doing none of that. I'm living my life and enjoying the presence of God. When the husband comes, praise God. And I'm gonna know, I won't say that. But that will be a sign that that's the right one. Is somebody that's already presented his body to God. If God can deliver me and have me 9 years out here abstinent, 9 years of not touching, I don't touch Tiffany, I don't touch me like that. 9 years of no sexual contact. And the reason I'm putting emphasis on that is because some people got creative minds and they say, I bet she was doing this. I ain't did jack. In 9 years, I've held on to what I told God, and that is, I will do this until you send the right man. If you never send him, then I'll never have sex again. I'm happy. I'm at peace. I'm not soul tied to nobody. I ain't losing my mind. I have forgiven the people in my past. I'm in a place I'm in a beautiful space. I'm in a sleepy space at that. I'm a little disappointed in myself for feeling asleep because I was telling myself I'm gonna get some work done. But let me tell you how to walk it out. One, this is your challenge for tonight. Present your body to God. Talk to him. Tell him, God, I need help. I give you my body. I declare abstinence for my life until I'm married. But I need your help on this journey. Please keep me in Jesus' name. After that, I need you, if you will, change your phone number. Because the enemy is going to try to reach out to you through some of those dudes. Typically, it's going to be somebody that you really had a fun sexual encounter with. When the enemy really wants to get you, he'll typically have somebody coming at you, be like, man, this dude used to have some crazy chemistry. But when the enemy wants to be funny, he'll throw somebody at you that you like, the dude couldn't last past a blink. I blink and he was done. And that dude is designed, the enemy uses that guy to make you feel like you finally got the abstinence thing down pat. Because you're like, oh man, like you said, Sister Tiffany, that guy reached out to me. The enemy will use certain people to come into your life that you can easily resist so that he can prepare you. So when you come across the one that you couldn't resist in the past, you'll think you big and bold. Oh, I got it. I got it. You don't got it. Number 3, don't be alone with a person. Take that off the menu. I am wrapped in flesh. I am not deceived into thinking that I can have a man in my house and nothing is going to happen and we just sitting there talking to each other. No, I'm wrapped in flesh. Now, I would be intentional. I'll say, let's go outside, all of that stuff. I don't put myself in that predicament. I don't put myself in that predicament. Number 4, remove the fornicators from your life. Change your circle. And also, when I say change your circle, even when it comes to guys or women, for the guys, anybody that tries to have sex with you, get rid of them. Don't argue with them, because that a lot of you make the mistake of, I'm just trying to say, no, because you keep trying to sleep with me. I'm just saying I'm being that. Don't do that. Hey, listen, you and I are in 2 different places, and where I am, in order for me to sustain that, I'm gonna have to cut ties with you. I wish you well. Also, it's just like that. Have a good day. Number 5, change what you're listening to on your radio and what you're watching on the television. Number 6, get busy. When you ain't got nothing to do, you're going to find something to do. And it's typically not going to be good. Get busy. I'm too busy to be lonely. I tell people that all the time. Go volunteer at your church. Go get into some stuff. Go get into something else. Because when you're not busy, you're going to get busy. When you're not busy, you'll fall into the trap of gossip. When you're not busy, you'll fall into the trap of calling an ex or wanting to get in a relationship. Get busy. Get busy. Keep building. Find everything that God has put in you. It'll blow your mind. All the gifts and the talents and stuff like that. Go build your skill set. Get busy. Number 8, get counseling and therapy. The Bible says there's safety in the multitude of counselors. Get you some counsel. Have some wise counselors around you that you're accountable to, and make sure that you're going through therapy. Number 9, make sure you have your GPS set to what you want. Now, I changed my GPS. My GPS used to be set to all the things that I desired. My GPS, my new desire has changed. I had to reroute it. My desire is to please God. That's my GPS. My desire is not to be married, to have a husband, to have a house, to have cars and all that. I look forward to that stuff. That stuff. It's nice to have. But my desire is to stay, and Jesus already pleased him, but I'm saying it's to have the heart of God. To have to know what's on God's heart, to be able to just be in his presence all the time. That's what I want. That's what I want. I want him to say, well done, good and faithful servant. That's my desire, is to be a faithful servant. That's my desire. All the other stuff, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else be added to you. Everything else that I want, everything else that I desire, they are sublets. Those things that come because I'm chasing him. Everything that I want chases me because I chase him. Everything that I want chases me because I chase him. And check this out. Not only does it chase me, I run from it. Not only does it chase me, I run from it. In other words, if a dude is chasing me, trust me, I'm not like, oh man. My thought is, what do you want? What do you want? Poly and open relationships are demonic. They're demonic. It's all about demons having real estate, honestly. Right. If you don't hear God in it, run. I tell you guys, learn how to cast out demons. Get to a place of maturity and healing in God, and also make sure that you are keen in the prophetic. All of these things help you to not only navigate the dating world, but it helps you in marriage as well. Right, that music, that sounds like Jodeci. Anything that will have you, y'all, can y'all imagine? Can you imagine? 9 years that I've been single. Can you imagine me in my house playing some Jodeci? You know what that would, you think I'd be abstinent still? Probably not. I mean, I like to think that I would, but that kind of stuff, it puts you in that space where you're just like, I'm so looking forward to that. No, I surround myself with the same music that God wanted to surround me with, and that's sounds of deliverance. I'll listen to, if I pull up my playlist, well, it's not even on my playlist, but it automatically comes up because I listen to it all the time. First thing comes up. See that? First thing comes up. Love that song. Then some shorts. Second song comes up. I just typed in YouTube. I listen to this song pretty much almost every day. That's what I listen to. When I get married, I can listen to songs that talk about I can listen to songs that talk about I want to make love to you and all that other stuff. I'm married, not a problem, because I got somebody I can do that with. But while I'm single, there's no sense in me listening to that. There's no sense in me listening to that. There's no sense in me listening to music that make me hug myself. There's no sense in me having, I ain't gonna listen to no music that have me in the corner sliding down like I'm in a movie crying. What is it? Come on. No. I listen to music that puts me in a worship place. I listen to music that makes me want to worship God and makes me think about the goodness of God. That's what I listen to. Right. They're triggering. Songs that talk about sex, songs that talk about breaking up, songs that talk about I can't get you off of my mind and stuff like that. That stuff is triggering. It's designed to move you emotionally. And I don't want my emotions to be entangled in eros because I'm not in a relationship. So I want I'm not married. Let me say that because even when I get in a relationship, I don't want those songs because those songs accelerate soul ties, and I don't want that. I want when I'm married, we can do all that. We can do all that, but in the meantime, in between time, I'm gonna listen to some music that's gonna have me on my face snotting up. All right, guys, I'm gonna get off of here. I love y'all. I don't know if y'all noticed I'm over here falling asleep, but I love you. I pray that you guys were blessed by this. Milo's coming to say the benediction as always. What do you got to say? My name blocks him. Anywho, don't throw on the Manhattans. What does that mean? Hey, James, how are you? All right, guys, I love y'all. I'm about to get off of here and try to go. I'm going to go ahead and get into a fight with sleep. I'm going to go ahead and get into a fight with sleep because I really don't want to go to bed. We are having another interest meeting this Saturday. For those of you who are interested, are my moderators asleep? Are y'all still here? The moderator's still here? For those of you who want to be mentored by me, we are having another interest meeting this Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My moderators, and they left me. I don't blame them. Okay, give me a second. Let me pull this up. Give me a second. I'm gonna give you, for those of you who are interested in mentorship. I'm so sleepy, it ain't even funny. Okay. All right. Let me see here. I gotta log in. Thankfully, I got it saved. And oh, okay. I think this is it. Yeah. All right. And we shall come back here. Let me find you. Find what I did with y'all. Here you go. Okay. All right. There you go. For those of you who want to be mentored by me, sign up that we will have another interest meeting this Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love you, and I will talk to you again soon. All right. Bye-bye.